Hello and welcome to day 2 of a very special FIFA eSports tournament, the first ever Play Unite 2020 tournament. If you did join us yesterday, then we had so much fun covering England and the eLions in Tournament A. They managed to finish top of their group when they took on Germany, Switzerland and Poland, only by goal difference though, I may add, and they get to do it all again today. My name's Rachel Stringer, and joining me again today, we have Brandon Smith and Richard Buckley. Hello, guys. How are you both doing? Rich, I'm going to come to you first. Let's just talk about what we saw yesterday, and I guess what position England are in now. Top of the table, but only on goal difference. Does that put them, I guess, in the firing line a little bit?
I don't think so. I think if you look at what they did yesterday, they sort of put a statement down, especially in the final game against Switzerland. It sort of shows what the boys are capable of. They can smash anybody by any sort of goal margin. And in regards to me, I'm doing very good. Thank you, Rachel. I had a little haircut this morning. Social distancing, of course. So I'm feeling fresh. I'm feeling good. And hopefully the boys are as well. Hopefully Team England can finish in top spot by the end of the day.
Yeah, we hope so. I did notice the haircut. Well done on that. It looks very smart. Brandon, I'm coming over to you as well then, because it is a new, obviously, competition we've got running. Can we just tell everyone or remind everyone, if they are only joining us today, how the tournament does work out? Because it's actually the second day of the group brackets again today, isn't it?
Yeah, so the Play Unite tournament's a really special one, Rachel, in terms of how the format sort of goes down. Basically, today is the exact same as yesterday. If you don't know what happened yesterday, it's basically every single nationality that is involved in this tournament. England, Germany, Poland and Switzerland both have an Xbox player and a PlayStation player. Both of those two will play against, obviously, the other nation's representative. Say if Tekkz wins his first game by 3-0 and Tom wins his game by 1-0 on the PlayStation, it will be a 4-0 scoreline, say, against Switzerland, and England would pick up the 3 points. It's 3 points for a win, a point for a draw, as usual sort of football rules go. And today's an interesting one because it's sort of for seeding today. We know England are taking top spot, but will they take top seed? You don't know sort of what is on the line for that. If you finish first and second, you play a top seeded game. If you finish third and fourth at the end of play today, you play a bottom seeded game, I should say. Those games happen tomorrow. And basically, if you finish in the top seeded game, you sort of get a second chance in terms of the knockout bracket. If you lose the top seeded game, you go down to play the winner of that lower bracket match tomorrow. And then we'll be looking towards our grand final by the end of play tomorrow. But we're a long, long, long away from that just as of yet. Because, as you said, Rachel, both teams, England and Germany, joint on points. It's only goal difference separating them so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing how today plays out.
Yeah, you just mentioned that, Brandon, and we think we can have a look at that right now, just see how the standings are currently after day 1, going into day 2. Yeah, England, the eLions there, sitting on top of the pile with 7 points, +6 on goal difference. Germany there in second place, 7 points. Also, Poland, they got 1 win yesterday. They have 3 points. Switzerland, they didn't record a single win yesterday, so are still sitting on 0 points. But everything is to play for again today because it is basically rinse and repeat. We're seeing it all again today. And I think it's time to have a look at some highlights from yesterday because we saw goals galore, as we expect in FIFA tournaments. Here they are right now.
Corner, play short, Sterling. Happy to offload it back to Raheem Sterling, twists his man, could that be the equaliser? It will be. England level after just 30 minutes.
And you have to say it's been coming. He has been knocking on the door of this Polish defence.
Maybe only get a point from this one. Have a chance to do even better tomorrow.
Yeah, chance to play all these fixtures again. You see in the top left corner there, the 3-3 from a previous matchup that's not related to this tournament. So the scoreline that you want to be focusing on is the one that says 1-0 to Tom and England. Great finish from Jadon Sancho. Goes 1-0 up in this grudge match against Germany.
Shelby. Rashford. Can he play that one more pass into Jadon Sancho? He'll twist. He'll turn. He'll find the back of the net.
Just so good, isn't it? Watching Tekkz play FIFA, the way that he manipulates the ball inside the box. He's got it on strings. He's a puppet master. He's having his way. Gonna need a Tekkz-esque performance in this second leg, aren't we? For England to get back into this game and potentially salvage a point.
Chance. Sancho. This is lovely. Drag back. Jonjo Shelby. There's a goal for England.
It's class from Tom inside the box. Jonjo Shelby, out of all the players, popping up with that goal at the near post. That's what he can do. Taking him 83 minutes to break the deadlock. He's been mightily unfortunate.
And of course, England's very own Tekkz. Jadon Sancho into Rashford. Scoop turn. Finish! It's absolutely beautiful.
What a goal. That's why you build the team around this man. You build it around FUT birthday Marcus Rashford. Because he has the creativity and the skill to produce magic on the pitch.
8 highlights there for you. I actually wanted to go back again to yesterday and actually what happened in those games. So obviously both the boys, they won 2 and lost 1. Tom lost to Poland and Tekkz losing to Germany. Is that, Brandon, a sign of how things will play out today? For those people who don't know FIFA too well, basically, does yesterday's results mean we're going to get the same today? How does it look in your opinion?
Well, I think it's certainly an interesting sort of point to look at there, Rachel, in terms of how today's games will go. There's going to be sort of one storyline that we need to keep an eye on. That's the fact that Poland are going to be using 2 new players today. Yesterday we saw Furman and Dami in action. That's going to be sort of switched around. It's going to be El Polako and Milos that will come into sort of the reign for Poland. So, you know, 2 different opponents for the eLions. Germany keep the same 2. We're looking at them in Megabit. That's going to be their toughest game in this group. You should say that we had probably our easier tie against Switzerland, 7 goals to 2. Although they did lose those individual games, with the format that we have got, it sort of showcased this sort of partnership that both Tekkz and Tom have of each other, sort of pulling each other out of a hole when one is losing by a goal or so. And I expect to see the same again today. But as I said, the biggest story is the fact that Poland have changed their 2 players.
Well, they are actually playing Switzerland first. Like you just said, Brandon, they won that on aggregate 7-2 yesterday. It's time to have a look at Tom's lineup for this match. Guys, enjoy the first matchup of the day.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And here we go then, Richard. We're back on the way for day 2 of the Play Unite 2020. And what's going to be an interesting one here is to see how England line up for the first game today. It will be Tom kicking off on the PlayStation once again. It's always PlayStation and Xbox against Lubo. And it was sort of a game to forget for Lubo yesterday, wasn't it? It was a 4-0 defeat. Can he change his luck today? That's the question that we're all sort of going to be asking.
Absolutely. If you don't know how this tournament works, either in terms of the team selection in Ultimate Team, both of the nations of the players, they will select a lowest rated squad. You sort of bid for the lowest rated squad that you feel comfortable in using. So Tom would have selected a team 83, 84, 85, etc. And Switzerland would have sort of submitted a team. You're only allowed to use players from your nation. The squad that was selected by Switzerland was an 81 rated team. So both players have to adhere by an 81 rated squad minimum of a 75 rated gold bench as well. That's why you're seeing 86 John Barnes in the team. That's why you're seeing sort of 80 rated Joe Gomez at centre back, because these players have to make the 81 rated squad. So we are playing on a fair playing field between both Switzerland and England, Poland and England, and also Germany and England. The squad restrictions are 84 rated squad for Germany, 82 rated for Poland. When we get in the Swiss game, it's going to be an 81 rated squad.
Yeah, so sort of the lowest squad that England are going to have to play in terms of both, of course, the PlayStation and the Xbox in day 2 of the Play Unite 2020 tournament. And, I mean, you look at Switzerland's team, it's lacking up top. You have got Mbolo up there, who, for us, we'd probably say was the MVP for Switzerland yesterday. They weren't able to score loads of goals, especially against England, only scored 2 of them. you know, they've got a great goalie in Jan Sommer. The back line's great. Akanji's in there. You've got Mbabu. The midfield's not too bad either. It's just sort of going forward where they have to sacrifice a few players, and all they have got is sort of a few silvers that do offer you great pace, but in front of goal, when you've got a big opportunity, they're the players you don't really want to use, are they?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's stop talking about Switzerland for a second, because I want to see the in-game team. What versions of the players is Tom going to be using? We've got it on the screen right now. It's going to be Nathan Redmond in forming at left wing, foot birthday Rashford, striker, and the team of the year nominee Jadon Sancho. The midfield's looking at Jordan Henderson and in-form John Joe Shelby holding with the base icon John Barnes in at centre attacking midfielder with a back four, in-form Smalling, in-form Popen, in-form Wan-Bissaka, Joe Gomez and Luke Shaw making up the rest of that defence. You see in the top left an 81 rated overall squad. So in terms of the overall team, Brandon, I think England have a much better team than Switzerland. As you said with Switzerland, you're using a 92 Mbabu, you're using a high-rated goalkeeper in Jan Sommer, you're using Zachariah, who I think is an 87, whereas with this England team, you sort of build it around Rashford because he's the star player, 5-star, the foot birthday Rashford, and then you're happy to use a John Joe Shelby and a Jordan Henderson. You're happy to sort of knock down Jadon Sancho's rating to get a more balanced team rather than individuals that are hoping to win your game. I think the England team is much more of a better overall team.
I think we are ready to jump into that game. It will be our first match of the day as England play against Switzerland. It will be Tom in action against Lubo. It was our last game of the day yesterday. It will be our first game of the day today. We'll jump into that match. And I think this is important for Switzerland. We spoke about England. We're looking at the three sort of nations in this tournament that England are up against. You would say Switzerland are the sort of least threat in terms of what we've seen. The two players that do represent Switzerland, yes, they're foot verified. Yes, they're pro players. They don't sit in those glamorous spots in the Global Series rankings, but they've clearly done something well to represent Switzerland in this tournament. But this is the opportunity where England can get goals. They know they can score goals against Switzerland. They scored 7 of them yesterday, and bear in mind that they scored 16 sort of throughout the whole day. You know, that's nearly 50% of their goals coming in just one game.
Yeah, I think the Switzerland game yesterday, it sort of showed what Tom and Tekkz can both do when there's less pressure on as well, and also when they get that early goal and they can really just put the sword to their opponents. Tom was, 3-0 up at half-time. He was absolutely cruising in that matchup against Switzerland, and in what was a must-win game as well, in reality, when you look back at the matchup. If they would have struggled to get a result in that match and not won by the goal margin that they did, they wouldn't be sat top of the table right now on goal difference over Germany.
Oh man, you can see him just appear there as the featured player in this game. Marcus Rashford, his foot birthday item, sort of has been England's MVP. It's just been all about Marcus Rashford, hasn't it, Richard? He's just been so clinical in front of goal. He's probably been the top goal scorer of England, followed by Jadon Sancho, maybe. You know, John Joe Shelby would probably on the rank somewhere, scored a few goals yesterday. But it's all about Rashford, isn't it? And it's just been so good to watch, especially in day one.
Absolutely. Jadon Sancho's also been an absolute treat on that right-hand side, whether it's the Team of the Year nominee, whether it's the 88 central man of the match, or the wide Jadon Sancho road to the final. Any version of that player has created nightmares for the rest of the other three nations in this Player Unite tournament.
Chance again for England. That's a mistake at the back from Switzerland. Akanji happy to pick up the danger. Not for too long though, England. Rampant in the attack. Another one for Rashford. Heel to heel. One more pass into Jadon Sancho. Is he onside? Yes, he is. And the goal stands. England are underway in day 2 of the Play Unite.
Talk about starting where you left off, Thomas. Beautiful. Early 15 minutes. Little pass across the box. Rashford to Sancho. That's the link-up that's been so deadly in this tournament thus far. And Tom leading the way here for the Three Lions inside the first 20 minutes.
sort of say deja vu for Switzerland. Consider the handful of goals yesterday. Find themselves 1-0 down in just 20 minutes. Against an England side that scored nearly 20 goals in this tournament. Third in the world. Hashtag Tom Sits. Could it be 2-0? Marcus Rashford!
He's happy with that one. He's very happy with that one. You saw the face cam just as it goes in. He knows how big of a goal that is in this game. Very similar story to what we saw yesterday, Brandon, in the Switzerland game.
And there's his teammate in Tekkz. That's his Tifo in game. We'll be seeing Tekkz in action following this one. So he goes up against Topic on the Xbox. 2-0. Perfect way to start at Wembley Stadium, the home of all English football. Just to put this into perspective, Richard, Tom has not conceded against Switzerland. Currently scored 6 goals. Hasn't conceded 1.
He's just been clinical, hasn't he? Whenever he's matched against the Switzerland side, I think it's just been too much, in all honesty, for both of the Swiss players against England, against Tom and Tekkz. And because you're sort of handing the baton over to your teammate, handing it over with a 2, a 3 or a 4 goal deficit, it's so demoralising as if you're the teammate. If we're playing together, Brandon, and I go first and I hand you a 3-0 defeat, you're thinking, firstly, why on earth is this my teammate? Secondly, what do you expect me to do with this? Because if I do pull it off, it's an absolute miracle. If I don't, you're the only one to blame, the person who played first.
And if we go back 24 hours as well, Richard, we saw England actually lose their first game yesterday. That was 3-2. Tom lost to Dami of Poland. Tekkz came out and put on a show and turned the result around to ensure that England would start the day with 3 points. 24 hours on from that, you've got a player that's full of confidence and looking for a third there with Marcus Rashford. It's been a brilliant first 45 minutes. He's not put
literally
a foot
picking
wrong.
up exactly where he left off.
Nathan Redmond looking for a third before half-time. It would be the perfect start to day 2 of Play Unite for the eLions. This is nice. Oh, it's even beautiful.
Oh,
wow. John Joe Shelby, the player that's not worn an England shirt for a while. He's been wearing it over the 2 days in this tournament and makes it 3 with probably the best goal that we've seen over the 2 days.
Absolutely fantastic from Tom. That's what we want to see. First game of the day yesterday didn't go to plan for him. Today, absolutely lethal in the final third. 41 minutes gone, 3-0 up. And England are looking to maintain that top spot in the group. Continuing to build up the goal difference. This is what we want to see.
Speaking of which, that game between Germany and Poland is currently underway. We'll give you a score update as soon as we know what's happening in that one. That'll be Miloš of Poland up against Umit, sort of the young rising star of Germany this year on FIFA 20. Added time of just 2 minutes, and we'll be looking to recap on what we've seen in these first 45 minutes. England have been fantastic. Tom's been fantastic. There goes the half-time whistle, I should say. 3-0. I mean, you heard me say it in commentary, Richard. He just hasn't put a foot wrong, has he?
He's really not. He's played a perfect first half performance. 3-0 up, exactly the same scoreline that he was yesterday. 5 shots, 3 on target, possession dominant, passing accuracy immaculate, 94%. And he said yesterday, Tom, when he was 3-0 up against Switzerland, that he wanted 5. He got 4 in the end of the 90 minutes. Can he get 5 today and set Tekkz up with a walk in the park of a second leg?
Back underway for the second half. If you have just joined us, day 2. Play Unite 2020 is underway. So the formation of games, we'll see England against Switzerland, England against Germany, and last but not least, England against Poland. The eLions looking to take a maximum of 9 points today. Marcus Rashford looking to once again be the MVP of England. John Barnes just about gets away from his man. A couple of ball rolls. Still England in possession. Jadon Sancho. La Croqueta.
Jonjo Shelby's fighting for a place in the 82 rated squad at this rate, and the 84 rated squad. Jonjo and Jordan Henderson holding down the fort. I mean, we talked about it before the game, Brandon. The sort of attacking quality. Kevin Mbabu with a chance. I think he's just offside. The attacking quality that Switzerland sort of possess in Ultimate Team is just a little lacking. When you're having to use silver players in the team, it doesn't give you confidence going forward.
So on top of that as well, you're looking for that gold item, aren't you? Every single time. When you're against Switzerland, you know they're looking for Mbolo.
Yeah. Or Mbabu making the run from midfield.
Shaqiri.
Yeah.
You sort of know the ball's going to go down that left-hand channel where they have got pace. But you're not going to see a cross because crossing isn't a thing this year. Going to see them try and play back inside. Rashford to make it 4.
Oh, no.
Out for a goal kick in the end. I thought it was going to be a corner.
It looked like it. I think it was sort of in 2 minds whether to try and pass it back across the goal or take a first time half volley towards the near post.
Speaking of that Jonjo Shelby, Richard, I can't actually remember off the top of my head which game he got that for. It must have been earlier in the season. 81 overall man of the match. A couple of those sort of dotted around in the team. You're looking at Chris Smalling, 83 overall from Roma. Nathan Redmond. Decent little pickup that both Tom and Tekkz have enjoyed using. The Southampton winger has sort of been deadly in the final third. Bit of a slow start to the second half for Tom.
Yeah, I think just you see him repositioning his chair a little bit. He knows that he's just taken the foot off the gas a little bit in the final third in this second half. It's played at a slightly slower tempo this second half. But he is always deadly when he gets into that final third, especially when Marcus Rashford is on the ball. And we have to remember there's a lot of pace in this Switzerland team. The ratings and the gold items might not be there, but there is still pace going forward. Oberlin and Bolo. There's one thing that they're not lacking, it is in that pace sector.
A better half from Switzerland. They just need to try and get a goal on the score board, and that's a prime example of that quality that they are lacking in the final third. It was Shaqiri. Just couldn't find the flick on to Mbolo. Referee, no, waves that one away. Kanji was deemed to win the ball fairly there. Our next game will be Tekkz over on the Xbox up against Topic of Borussia eSports. And more importantly, Switzerland. Did score a few against Tekkz yesterday, but did lose the match overall.
It was sort of lead that Tom built meant that Tekkz could have a little bit of fun, didn't he? He brought on Andy Carroll and just wanted to get a goal with Big Andy in the second half.
Chance again for England to make it 4. John Barnes tries to play in Henderson. He dives in late. Seen a few decisions that have been a little bit all over the place from the referee in this second half.
Pretty much a copy-paste from the first leg of the Switzerland game that we saw yesterday. Tom were 3-0 up in the second half yesterday. In the first half, I should say. In the second half, sort of, the game dried up a little bit. We've seen it exactly the same here. But the lead is still there. And it means that Tekkz and England, minus their capitulation, will be getting another 3 points on the board and further increasing that goal difference that we probably need on Germany. I don't see really Germany dropping any points in their 2 matches. I think that's going to be the story of the group, isn't it? Whoever wins the match between England and Germany will top the group.
England looking to replicate that result yesterday against Switzerland. La Croqueta, Rashford tipped over the bar. That could have been 4 for England. And, you know, with all the respect in the world to Luba, a player that's been in the FIFA eSports scene for so long, you can just clearly see the quality between the two. Not just that there's, 560 places between them in the Global Series rankings, but also from this result we've seen, not just over 1 day, but 2 days, 7 goals Thomas scored against Switzerland and hasn't conceded a single goal. Looking for that 4th. Perfect way to start day 2 for the eLions. Henderson.
Ref.
John Barnes does finally get a decision his way.
See a direct shot. Marcus Rashford.
It would be pretty remarkable if he could just tuck this one into the back of the net. I think everyone expects you to go to the left top corner. Tom wants to go the other way. Rashford to step up with it. We'll take it with a direct shot. It's off the line. Another chance for England. Final one of the game. Will they get a 4th? I don't think they will. Added time off just 2. It's a long ball forward for Switzerland. Keeping not to concede now. England won't. And England kick off this tournament for day 2 in the best way possible. They're very confident. 3-0 win for #Tom on the PS4 against Switzerland. Perfect start, Richard.
Absolutely. You see the chances, you see the shots, the confirmation of the Game 1 result right there. 3-0 against Switzerland. Great performance from Tommy. He did the job in the first half. In the second half, he created a couple of chances. That free kick getting cleared off the line. But Tom, really, I'm glad that he's started the way that he finished yesterday. We saw him in the first game against Poland and against Dami. Yesterday, he struggled. He actually lost that game. The only result that went against him in the entire day. Today, he's come back and he is firing. 3-0 against Switzerland. A good result and setting Tekkz up for a victory in his second leg.
I mean, you speak about setting Tekkz up. I mean, filling him with confidence as well. Your teammates just gone and got a 3-0 win there to kick off day 2 of the tournament. We know that England are potentially on the way to another 3 points in this group. And depending on how Germany are getting on against Poland, we really want a result to go our way there in terms of just giving us a bit of a leap on the group. Just anything, a point, couple of points.
Yeah. I think any single goal, even, the goal difference is going to be massive in this tournament. But great start from Tom Lees, and he's joined with Rachel right now for his thoughts.
Yeah, great first matchup to kick things off for England. #Tom just loves scoring goals against Switzerland. 3 to add to the 4 he scored yesterday. He's sitting with us right now, looking pretty smiley again. I asked you for 5, though, off camera, Tom. You got me 3. You got England 3. Not a bad day at the office to start things off, is it?
Yeah, I can't lie. I thought a few chances at the end. 2, Rashford had 2. The one that got saved and then the one that's cleared off the line. Could have made it the 5, but come out firing for 3-0 win. It's exactly how you want to start, and now giving Tekkz an advantage that hopefully he can use.
Yeah, mentally, coming into this game where you did obviously score 4, You got a clean sheet yesterday against Switzerland. How much easier does it make it?
No disrespect to Switzerland or anything like that. It's just sort of aware after yesterday they were the game that we did well in, and I thought today, like, we know goal difference could be a big factor, so I thought come out firing. As soon as I knew I was winning 3-0 at half time, I just wanted to keep going, keep building it, so I'm ready and warm for the other games. But yeah, it definitely helped knowing how well we played against them yesterday, and you sort of felt out all the opponents yesterday, so you know what you're going to get now, and I think that definitely helped me there.
With that in mind, what you just said there about goal difference maybe playing a big factor, are you going to like change your tactics at all? Are you going to be playing more attacking football? What's the plan for both you and Tekkz today?
No, I don't think so. I think we'll just play to win first and foremost. Don't want to go too attacking and then lose down the other end. I think if we win all our games today, well, I know if we win all our games today, we're top of the group. So the first and foremost is winning. Goal difference is just a bonus. That if we are winning by a few goals, you can tell your opponent's going to be chasing after you. That's the time to try and turn the key. I don't know, but you know what I mean. We do that for the games where we know we're in a big lead, and then the other two, if they're tight, just all about winning. To be honest, not just about scoring goals.
Yeah, and I heard off camera as well, you and Tekkz have a pretty simple game plan today, don't you? Can you tell everyone exactly what that is?
Tektz's motivational speech for today was just win. I mean, if we just win our games, then it's going to work out well, ain't it? So the plan is to just win. It also would help us in knockouts as well, because the way the format is, the more you win, the less games you have to play. So me and Tekkz had a sit down, really productive between the two of us, and the final message was to just win.
Well, you guys have a habit of winning, obviously ranked 1 and 3 respectively in the world on your consoles. Good luck for the rest of the tournament, Tom. We'll see you in a little bit against Germany. Go and prepare for that one. We'll talk to you after that one.
Thank you.
See you in a bit. So that was #Tom there, just giving us a bit of a recap over that game against Switzerland, winning 3-0 there, adding to the 4 goals he did score against them yesterday. Boys, nice way to begin the tournament for #Tom there. He just loves piling the pressure on Tekkz, doesn't he, Brandon?
He does. I mean, there's no better way to pile the pressure on him as well, with a big 3-0 win to kick off day 2 of this tournament. I think the one thing for Tekkz this game, we know how good Tekkz is. There's a reason why he's first in the world on Xbox. I think we're sort of at the end of play yesterday where he conceded a few sloppy goals and, you know, wasn't really feeling himself. Yes, he won the game 3-2, but today he'll be looking to score more goals than that, to keep a clean sheet and to really get England on their way, hopefully with some really good goal difference.
Yeah, Rich, we're seeing obviously Tekkz coming up next. From what you saw of him yesterday, would you think he'll be doing anything a little bit differently? He obviously lost one game like Tom did. He lost the game against Germany and Megabit for the FIFA fans.
Yeah, I think Tekkz knows that he's got levels to go into. I think we probably saw Gear 2 Tekkz yesterday from what we used to see in. He's got a lot of things that, even just like the way that he lost against Megabit, he conceded 2 late goals, something that Tekkz will rarely ever do. So I think he has got a lot of sort of, not room to improve, but room to play to his level. He's nowhere near his sort of ceiling where he can be at right now. I think Tekkz he knows that. I would say the more that Tom wins, the more that Tekkz is more confident. When one of them doesn't play well, they both tend to not play as good as they want to. Whereas Tekkz, he's cruising. Do you know what I mean? Like right now, we're going to see the skill moves. We're going to see him having fun. And this is what Tekkz we want to see. We want to see the Tekkz that is just embarrassing people. And hopefully that's what we see in this next game.
Brandon, if you think the Xbox console went first, so Tekkz went first every time and Tom on the PS4 went second, do you think we'd see a different style of play from Tekkz?
I mean, it's definitely a tough one. I think if I was to sort of be the England or eLions so-called eSports manager, I think I would play it in the way that it is right now in terms of PlayStation first, because I think it was sort of similar to the way that these two played back at the E-Nations Cup last year, when we had some really, really tight games against many nations that of course went and did really well in that. But I think if Tekkz scored first, you're always looking at goals. You're always going to be guaranteed goals. But I feel like playing Tom first, just kind of, we know he's a great player. He's third in the world at the moment. He'll get some goals. Then Tekkz comes in and just adds an extra sort of 100% on top of that in terms of even more goals and more quality. So I think that England are playing it the right way in terms of PlayStation first, then Xbox. But I don't think I would change it either. I don't think I would change it.
It's working at the moment. And let's see if we can have a look at Tekkz's lineup for this first matchup against Switzerland and see who he's going with. Brandon, talk us through this one.
Yeah, it looks like an interesting one. As we said, it's an 81 overall squad. And the sort of big difference, Richard, between both Tekkz's team and Tom's team is that Tekkz has always involved that man on the left-hand side, Ryan Kent. And we all know why he's involved in their team, don't we?
Absolutely, yeah. He's got the ability to use Ryan Kent. He completed the SBC way back earlier in the year, and he's got the 84 rated Ryan Kent in the squad. John Joe, Shelby, Henderson, Redmond. Apart from that, it's pretty much the identical team. It's just Kent in for Tekkz. We'll see if he can play a big part in this match for him. We'll be able to see the in-game team that Tekkz is using with the ratings and whatnot very shortly indeed. But I think if you look at that team, we've seen what Kent can do for Tekkz, and I think that partnership is going to continue through the 81, the 82, and the 84 rated squads.
Let's just talk a little bit about the standout players that we saw from each nation yesterday. Obviously, we're saying Rashford for England was the guy that everyone needed to have in his team. He was doing things at the top, scoring the goals. But for every other nation, Brandon, who would you say was the standout? Let's go with you with Germany first.
Oh, definitely. So I think Germany was the only one I'd say we've kind of need to have a bit of a chat about. I think Kai Havertz was the star of the show yesterday. It was his foot birthday item that was scoring a handful of goals. But you've also got the debate of someone like a Timo Werner that could also be in that discussion of sort of Germany's standout player. I think we'll definitely see a different standout player from Germany today. But for yesterday, I'd say Kai Havertz was sort of their MVP.
Well, let's talk about Switzerland, because obviously we're playing them next. For Switzerland, bit trickier maybe. Who would you say was the standout overall over the three matches?
I don't know. It's tough because you can't say a defender when you leak like 14 goals in the three games that we've played. You'd probably say an attacking player, maybe Mbolo. He's looked dangerous when he's got the ball. But I think going back to what Brandon was talking about, Germany, the sort of question that the players are going to be tossing up is, you've got someone like a Timo Werner, for example, but which Timo Werner do you use? Do you use the team of the season Timo Werner, which is a lot higher rated than, for example, the headliner Timo Werner, but then you've got to weaken a different position? So these are sort of issues, whereas both Germany players use different variations of Timo Werner, and then Megabit brought in Marco Reus to accompany him up front. So the issues that the players are going to have selecting the versions of the players, I think, is going to be bigger than the actual players themselves. Everyone wants Werner in, it's just which version do you use?
It's actually really tricky, isn't it, for them? It's a headache for them, not for us. We can just chat about it. And then for Poland, Brandon, as well, would you say the standout player was Robert Lewandowski? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's only one man for Poland, and the fact that, you know, Richard said it perfectly. When you're building a team like Poland, we've seen a lot of the players sort of take the same sort of kind of approach with the tactics of, let's have a really strong goalkeeper in Szczesny, and we have to have, you know, Robert Lewandowski in that team. And the best version of him at the moment is a 99 overall team of the season item, which is absolutely ridiculous in game. We saw how good he was yesterday against England. Like, every single chance he was getting, Rich, he was just put into the back on there, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing with Poland's team, for example. You know that he is going to be in the team no matter what, so then you take loads of knockdowns for the players around him, whereas with England, we've got a 96 rated Jadon Sancho, but he's not featured once, because you can't sort of claim to have a 96 rated player in the team and then weaken so many other positions, whereas with Poland, because the quality over the overall team isn't as high, you can take the sacrifice and just give it every time to Lewandowski, and hopefully he can produce.
We did just see Tekkz's lineup there. What do you make of John Joe Shelby, and why do you think they keep putting him in? Because we've seen Tom putting him in his team as well. Obviously, someone we wouldn't see necessarily feature for England anymore, but seems to be featuring in the virtual pitch, doesn't he, Brandon?
He does. I mean, we know that Tekkz is a big Liverpool fan. He was a player that had a short spell at Liverpool as well. But I think I said to Richard about this, it's his man of the match. Sorry, not man of the match. It's his inform, which means he would have obviously been recognised for a certain performance that he made for Newcastle earlier on in this year. But as Richard said, I think we're lucky in terms of in-game items for England. We've got so many good in-game items. We've got so many icons in the game as well. We've only seen John Barnes and maybe Rio Ferdinand involved. We could have so many more. We could have Lineker, Scholes, Lampard. The list goes on of sort of how many items we've got. It's just a really, really tough one.
Well, let's just get into it right now, because I think the boys are ready and waiting. Tekkz is ready. It's time to take on Switzerland. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And here we go then. They've gone from PlayStation to Xbox. And now it's in the hands of Tekkz to show us another strong performance after what was a really strong performance and an unbelievable first 45 minutes from Tom in our first game of the day.
And I don't want to say that I've had the impact of getting John Joe Shelby in the team and getting him his call up, but me and Tom were talking about the squad restrictions and what players do you think would have to take the hit in the 81 and the 82 rated squads. And I threw John Joe Shelby out there. We're like, look, he can do a job at CDM. He's quite physical. He can pass the ball inside the box. He's got a decent shot on him. And look at him. He's featuring. He's loving life in midfield. He's got a new lease of life, has John Joe.
Is that you claiming maybe 2 picks for England? I know you were talking about John Barnes yesterday for Tom.
John Barnes, John Joe Shelby. Look, I've got a waistcoat.
John Joe Shelby in your sort of your shout.
I've got a waistcoat, and if you want me to put it on, I can just manage the team. It's fine. I can do both jobs.
Speaking of Switzerland, Richard, it will be the same player we saw in action yesterday, and that is Topic. Currently sits 196th in the Global Series rankings. Lost 3-2 to Tekkz, but the one confidence that he has to take out of that game is that he knows he can score goals against the Xbox eLion. The thing that he has to deal with, though, is this flair that Tekkz always provides in front of the goal. We saw sort of a little spell of it with Rashford just a few minutes ago.
I just had confirmation as well, Brandon, that Germany did win 1-0 in the first leg against Poland. So only 1-0. There's a chance for Poland to still take points away from Germany, and that would be absolutely fantastic for England if Poland can get a result against Germany.
It's one thing that we haven't spoke about as well, that Poland have sort of refreshed their roster. Yesterday it was Dami and Furman. Today it's Milos of Liega eSports, I should say. Obviously, Liega Warsaw, the Polish club. And El Polaco, a player that has made some noise on the FIFA eSports scene, currently sits within the top 100 on the Global Series rankings too. So that's a really tough game for Megabit.
It's also a fresh matchup as well. He'll be used to the Poland team that we saw yesterday. The Poland national team putting in 4 players. Really showing their intent, wanting to get as many players, international caps, on the board. And they're still in this group. They're still in this tournament, Brandon, at Poland. 3 points. They can get a result against Germany and then move into that game against Switzerland. There's opportunities there for them to move up this group and potentially snatch a top 2 finish.
There certainly is. I mean, it's interesting as well to sort of get your viewpoint on this as well, Richard, in terms of, would you be happy to sort of swap your roster up in day 2 of the tournament, or would you rather just keep it the same? I mean, 75% of the nations that are involved have all kept the same roster.
I think it all depends. That's an offside trap and he's onside. He's onside. That's the goal. That's game over. A very poor offside trap, in all honesty. Tekkz capitalising on it. Rashford picking up the ball. He had to wait a couple of seconds, did Tekkz, because he didn't know if we're actually onside or not.
It's the perfect start, but also the worst possible start for Switzerland. It was an offside trap. We speak about this all the time, Richard, in games. If done right, can be very beneficial, but if done wrong, that's exactly what can happen. England with the breakthrough. Marcus Rashford. Who else would it be to kick off day 2? for England's Xbox eLion in Tekkz. Number 1 in the world he sits for a second year. Chance for Switzerland. Shaqiri trying to fake shot his way past. Not just one player in Luke Shaw, but also Joe Gomez. Here comes Switzerland. And Bolo, Fright. And Babu will be the sort of ultimate box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah, he's a right back is Kevin Mbabu, but he's got the stats to play at CDM. Rashford potentially just onside.
That's
That's luscious. Oh.
Nearly caught out was Jan Sommer. Just came off his line slightly, teased the shot. From Tekkz. Tekkz went with it. Just inches wide. You don't know the aggregate scoreline. Currently 4-0 to England. As you said, Richard, Germany did win their first game on the PlayStation. That was Milos losing to Umit. Umit won it by a goal to 0. And that'll be an Xbox matchup between El Polaco and Megabit. As you said, if Poland can even take a 1-0 win or snatch the result, it mixes things up in this table. And England will be in prime position.
The referee has indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes of added time.
Will be top of the pile, plenty of goals, and even better goal difference next to their name. Added time of just 2 minutes. England currently lead by a goal to 0. The goal coming from Marcus Rashford. Switzerland with a corner. This will be the last attack of the first half. Whipped in towards them. Bolo. Nick Pope comes out, punches it away. And you would think punches us into half-time. Referee continues to play on again. And Babu into Sterling. Just get rid of the ball. There we go. Into half-time. We go. England lead by a goal to 0.
I've got an update for you, Brandon. For all the England fans out there, Poland have taken the lead in the second leg. Megabit is currently losing 1 goal to 0, meaning that overall tie is 1 apiece. Playing right into England's hands.
Wow. That is a result that certainly would get England fans excited. It could really give England that push in the group to gain 2 points on Germany. Four 0 up, England currently lead. 4 goals in 45 minutes. It's a little bit too much of a task.
And again, it's the first game that's settled the tie. To turn around, to put your teammate in a situation where you're telling them, turn this game around with a 3-goal deficit in 1 leg of FIFA, it's near on impossible. You would have to have the game of your life against sort of an average to good FIFA player. Never mind Tekkz, who is arguably the best FIFA player.
We spoke about it, haven't we? About the duo that both eLions have in terms of chemistry, the relationship they've been able to create over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. From E-Nations Cup to E-Club World Cup when Tom was on loan at Fnatic. They've pushed each other on this year, and that's sort of replicated with where they do sit in the world rankings.
It's a great ball.
Ryan Kent. Referee, I thought that was a foul. Happy to play on.
Yeah, it looked like it. Oh, he came straight through the back of him. Team press there put on as well by Tekkz. He wants more.
Smalling's got to be careful. He's way out of position, and for a split second, Mbolo could be off. Shaqiri, dink ball into Widmer. He looks to cross it into the box. It's well recovered by Luke Shaw. Out for a corner. It will go for Switzerland. And I mean, although I just don't think there will be enough time to pull back 4 goals for Switzerland. It'd be anything just a sort of personal battle with Tekkz that so people want after coming close yesterday, but Tekkz will be wanting to ensure he can keep a clean sheet, add a few more goals as well onto that tally.
Yeah, also to win an individual game, isn't it? If you win your tie, if you win your individual leg, you might not get the result overall for your nation, but on a personal level, you can say, I beat Tekkz in a game of FIFA, I beat him in a one-legged game, or I beat Tom in a one-legged game of FIFA. For the personal confidence of the players, it can help going into the rest of the tournament.
I mean, if you can win every game that you play out of the 3 nations, you win your PlayStation leg 1, 2 and 3, so does your teammate, you're going to be full of confidence heading into tomorrow. Well, we must add, even if you do finish bottom in the sort of tournament group, you still have a chance tomorrow to play in that lower bracket match. It does sort of turn into knockout football. Here come England again. Luke Shaw very much in this attack and involved. Jadon Sancho, a little elastico, such Tekkz style, drag back. That's the Tekkz we know and love.
Elastico into the drag back, near post shot. 5-0. England with another 3 points on the board.
In aggregate. Perfect start for the eLions, and they're not done yet. Still 15 minutes in this game, and then we go on to that Germany tie, which I mean could look completely different if Germany were to draw their match-up. Shaqiri is onside. Chance for Switzerland, expect a cutback, and Bolo's there. It is a goal back for them.
Straight from kick-off, getting that goal back, but it's not going to mean anything in the complexion of the game. See a stamina bar of Ryan Kent there. Do we get to see another Andy Carroll potential appearance in this game?
He really scored yesterday, didn't he? He had like a bit of a glancing header. Which nearly found its way into the back of the net. Looking across the benches, 75 rated. Is the rule also in use? Rashford. No way around. Just 8 minutes left. If you have just joined us, welcome to day 2 of Play Unite 2020. It's currently England 5-2 on aggregate. Tom won his first leg 3-0. Tekkz currently leading by 2-1 here. Looking for a second. Luke Shaw does well too. Recover, slightly too heavy from Chris Smalling. A little bit of a stitch-up pass at the back end. Babu tries to make something happen. It's cleared wide by Jordan Henderson. Couple of minutes to hold on. Shaqiri cuts back his man, and Babu. Great save, Nick Pope.
Tekkz's reading of the game is something that very rarely gets talked about, but his player switching and almost prediction of his opponents is so good. The way that he'll just instantly be able to press, and that's because he's predicting where you're going to pass the ball before you've even passed it. You just look at where the red icons move.
The referee has indicated
Moves so quickly. Just defend this chance, England. We'll leave match 1 with 2 individual wins. That should be enough to do it. To get the score in this one, it's still a 2-goal win. For Tekkz overall, will be a 5-goal one. 5-1, I should say, victory on aggregate. There it is, 3 more points on the board. And 5 big goals for the eLions. I'm sure they'll turn their attentions to seeing how that game does end between Poland and Germany. Last time we heard El Polaco was 1-0 up against Megabit, which would mean it would be a 1-1 scoreline overall. And perfect start for the eLions, Richard. 5-1 win over the 2 legs.
Absolutely. The perfect start for England in day 2 here of the Player Unite tournament. England still top of the group as it stands currently on goal difference and another +4 to add to their tally that they built up yesterday. We'll see how the Poland and Germany game is currently getting underway, but hopefully Poland can a draw would be perfect for England. A win for Poland potentially could even see them battling for a top 2 spot with Germany and ourselves as England. But great start from both Tom and Tekkz, getting the victory, getting the 3 points on the board, and on to Germany next.
Although it's a win overall, an aggregate scoreline, it's massive that they've both won the individual games. I know they did it yesterday. I know they won 7-2 against Switzerland, but the first game of the day today, you can't never underestimate your opponent. You might have won 7-2 yesterday, but today is a new day, and we saw sort of two different performances. Overall, it was a 5-1 win, and that's surely going to give both England players confidence. You know, they won the PlayStation leg, they won the Xbox leg, and they're going into a Germany game now where they both need to be feeling good.
Yeah, and in the Germany game yesterday, you look at, it was the tightest of margins, weren't it? If Megabit does drop points against El Polaco, you would say that Tekkz is probably playing on currently better form than Megabit, so he also want revenge for the game that he did lose yesterday. Tom versus Umit is such a tightly contested game. Tom, who's predominantly more of an attacking player, Umit more of a defensive player. That will probably be a 1-0 or a 2-1 scoreline. I can't see a lot of goals flying in that game, so I think it will be decided really in the second leg of the Germany matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one, that. As we said, we've got Germany up against next. That'll be the PlayStation leg first. It was yesterday where Tom beat Umit by 2-1. That's quite a big game. If people don't know sort of the context behind that, they played twice before this year, Tom was telling us. And although it was 2 contested games, it was Umit that got the win. So yesterday, that was just sort of a weight off Tom's shoulders, I would think. Yes, it's not a FUT Champions Cup or, sort of in a FUT Champions Cup, a tournament that's got global series points and prize money on the line, but sort of national pride and a matchup that did mean a lot. That was a big win for him yesterday.
It really was. I think if you look at all the players in the tournament so far, there's been standout performers, and I think one of those sort of standout performers has been both of the England players. We heard from Tom after his match. Now we have the opportunity to hear from Tekkz after that victory. Rachel, what do you think of the game?
Yeah, it was great. And if you at home are just tuning in, welcome. This is the Play Unite 2020 tournament. If you did just watch that previous matchup, it was Tekkz taking on Switzerland. And Tekkz is the best in the world. So if you think it looked a bit easy, it's because he is ranked number 1 on Xbox. He's sitting there joining us now. Tekkz, just talk us through that first one. Did it feel as easy as it looked?
I'm just here to get the job done. Tom won 3-0, so I thought, let me just keep it simple, get the job done. Nothing too fancy. And I don't know who we play next, but on to them.
Germany, I'll inform you, is next. That's the one that unfortunately you did get that loss to yesterday. It is against, for the FIFA knowledgeable ones out there, a Megabit. Are you going to change things up at all for that one?
Nah, I felt like I was better than him yesterday. Just a few bounces went a bit unfortunate, and I lost the game. But hopefully I play better than him again today, and surely I'll get a win.
You're obviously representing England. We haven't really spoken about that much. You're an eLion, of course. You have been now since 2019. Usually, you'll be playing alongside Tom in a studio with loads of people, loads of cameras. Do you prefer being in a studio with all that pressure, or how does it compare to seeing at home, I guess, in your living room, your gaming room, wherever you are right now?
I hate playing at home for tournaments. I hate it. I prefer going to an actual tournament, because when I'm at home, I don't feel right. It just feels like I'm just like chilling in like a friendly game. But when I'm actually at a tournament, I can get my heartbeat up. I can get into it. But at home, I struggle.
Do you try and replicate anything from a tournament situation? Are you sitting there, for example, and those people who don't know you that well, socks and sliders? Please say you are.
No, I'm just sat here in my bare feet. I just wake up, and yeah, just chill and then play my tournament. Literally nothing special at all.
Tekkz, put your socks and sliders on. That is your go-to at tournaments. Maybe that'll give you a few extra goals. Anyway, thank you for talking to us, Tekkz. We can have a look now at what happened in the other games in Tournament A as well, because obviously we are playing against Germany, Switzerland and Poland in this group. So Poland there beating Germany 3-2. That's quite a dramatic turnaround. As we saw, Germany were pretty dominant yesterday. They're currently... They were, at the beginning of this day, joint first with England with 7 points. That will change things around dramatically, I think, on the standings ahead of the next matchup. We can have a look at that shortly. That was Tekkz, you just heard from him there, winning his first matchup against Switzerland, and he joins Tom. They both got a win in their matchup. And I just mentioned that they're eLions. They're playing for England. They have been since 2019. It's a great honour, of course, for them to play for their country. I think we can go back to have a word with Richard and Brandon now. After that one, a nice result for England and a nice result there for Poland. We're not going to dwell on the Poland game too much, though. Just a quick word, firstly, Brandon, on Tekkz and the fact that he said he actually prefers the high-pressure situations of a studio rather than sitting relaxing in his bedroom like he looks like he is.
I think sometimes any sort of player needs that in terms of, playing at home or the comforts of your own home. You can be a bit more comfortable, can't you? There isn't the pressure of sort of people around you, coaches, other competitors, people roaring when they're scoring goals. So I think for anyone, you sort of change your mindset slightly. We're still seeing, great performances from Tekkz. Let's not forget that. But at an event, I just feel like there's the extra sort of level you can sort of head towards. And come on, we've got to talk about that game as well. The fact that England now gained 3 points in the group after what was a sort of impressive result, it looks like, from El Polaco on the Xbox from Poland, beating Germany. Any England fan wants to see that.
Let's have a look then, shall we, at how the group standings do look, because we said it was a bit of a shock. Germany were doing so well yesterday. They had 2 wins and a draw. This is how the standings currently look after that win by Poland. So England there, 10 points. They now have 3 wins and a draw to their name. Germany sitting in second with 7 points. Poland in third place with 6 points. And Switzerland, unfortunately, still without that elusive win for them with 0 points at the bottom of the table. But I have to say that no one's actually going out at this stage in the competition. We all go through to Wednesday to the knockout stages, and then it's based on seeding to see who does make it through to the final. I'm just going to pick up as well. I like to put some shoes on because it makes me feel like I'm actually going to work. I don't sit here in slippers like some people might do, or Tekkz, and he's wearing bare feet. Richard, though, just going back to that group standings, how does that change things up? Will Germany be stressing out a little bit more now going into this next round of fixtures against England, who they did draw to yesterday?
Well, it sort of also means that game right now for Germany, this next match, is sort of a must-win, because if they don't win this game and England beat Germany, England go on to 13 points. Poland are playing against Switzerland, and Switzerland, everybody's beat them so far. No disrespect to Switzerland, but that's just how it's gone. Everyone has took points away from Switzerland. So if Poland were to beat Switzerland, they would leapfrog into second position, meaning that they get the higher seeded ranking going into that final round of fixtures in this tournament here. So really for Germany, this is sort of a must-win game, in all honesty.
Pressure is back on Germany. It's England now with everything to play for, sitting nicely at the top of the table with 10 points, like we just said. Just going on to talk about, obviously, playing Germany goes up to an 84 rated team now. And we know that Tom has made a few changes. We'll see them shortly. He's got Max Aarons in from Norwich, taking place from Kyle Walker. Brandon, what do you make of that change? Why do you think he did that for the next matchup?
I think it'll be his future star item for Max Aarons in at fullback. There's been a sort of a sprinkle of them across a number of players' teams that we have seen. We saw Mason Greenwood yesterday. I think he was a player that we did see in the Germany game for Tom, his future star item of Manchester United. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this tournament. Although it's, all sort of nation only, we're seeing what England have in terms of the future stars that EA have provided in Ultimate Team, the different promos. And one of the changes that he's made, and a defensive change, you normally often see a player make a change going forward. So certainly an interesting one from Tom there.
And Rich, I think he also downgraded Sterling from a 90 to an 89. Was that because he was fitting a higher rating Max Aarons in to Kyle Walker?
Yeah, so Walker being 84, he wanted Aarons at an 85, so then you've got to take one down. I think also you were complaining about Kyle Walker yesterday. Both players said, Tom and Tekkz, that they weren't really happy with Kyle Walker's performance. So Aarons comes in. I'm also sat barefoot as well, so it's not just Tekkz in the barefoot gang. Brandon, what are you? I bet you're wearing shoes.
I'm not. I'm actually wearing some flip flops right now. So I've just got to be comfortable. Got to be comfortable.
No. I like to feel like I'm going to work.
Well.
No, well, yeah, so we've got an 84 rated team. It's going up from an 81 to an 84. Tom, again, yesterday said he much prefers playing with a higher ranked team. For the non-FIFA players out there, why is this, I guess, more favourable, Brandon, to someone like Tom, who is such a great player?
I think it's just the simple answer, Rachel, of you just get to use better players. You get to use better players sort of around the team, as we've sort of alluded to so many times. England have so many good players, whether it's icons in-game or, as you said, different promos across the year. England are just sort of spoiled, and I'm sure Richard will agree with me on that there's just so many sort of options that we can use.
It's the familiarity. Like, Tom and Tekkz aren't used to having to use John Joe Shelby or these lower-rated items in their normal Ultimate teams when they're playing in the Global Series or they're playing at events. They're using 99-rated players, Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, and 94-rated prime icon moments, and these really high-end players. So when you get a little bit closer to that, it's a little bit closer to home. You're getting the higher-rated players. You're not getting the dodgy touches, the weird bouncers going against you. Players keep it closer to them. They've got higher stats, and it just feels better to play with the higher-rated players.
Well, these guys are pros, so it is working for them. Whatever ranking they have to go for, from 81 or 84. I just gave you a sneak peek of Tom's team, which he's going to use next against Germany. I think we can see the full lineup now. Guys, enjoy this next matchup. Tom taking on Germany.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And as you alluded to, Rachel, those are the changes that Tom has made in terms of his team. We're seeing Sterling involved at Champions League item alongside Jadon Sancho. Once again, the future stars are back in use. Tomori and Mason Greenwood on top of that list. Stevie G in for John Barnes. Shapeshifter Trent Alexander-Arnold. Quite a different team, in all honesty, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, the only real changes that he's made was Aaron's in and the slight decrease on Raheem Sterling. Steven Gerrard in at the 86 rated. He was used yesterday as well in the 84 rated squad. The base icon Gerrard, he'll do a job for you. He's not going to blow you away. He's quite slow. But apart from that, on the ball, defensively, he'll do a job in that position. And you're playing him there in a 2 CDM formation next to a pacier Trent Alexander-Arnold who can do the running for him. Greenwood and Rashford were deadly yesterday, so I'll expect to see that partnership linking up again for Tom here against Germany.
We are going to jump into that game right now. As we said, it's going to be Tom of England against Umit of Germany. These two neck and neck on the world rankings. Tom sits in third, Umit sits in fourth. If you think back to FUT Champions Cup number 3 back in Atlanta, you'll know that these two matched up in a console final yesterday. Tom did beat Umit by 2-1. This is going to be an interesting one, Richard, and I'm really not too sure how many goals we're going to see. It was such a sort of tight contested affair yesterday. Jadon Sancho scored an unbelievable goal. I can remember it still now in terms of just holding possession back to goal, faking to go this way, faking to go that way, and eventually did score the goal. But we're underway. England against Germany. England 3 points clear at the top of the pile. And as you alluded to, Richard, this is a must-win match for Germany.
Yeah, if they've got any ambitions of finishing in the top 2 positions in this tournament, they have to take something out of this game, whether it's 1 point or 3. That's a great ball around the back for Havertz. Awful touch straight away. And Tom a shake of the head. And knows that he's in a game here. 5 minutes in already.
You saw the goal difference too, Richard. A sort of statement that England have made. In play Unite 2020. +10. In the goal difference. Chance for Germany. We spoke of their MVP yesterday, Kai Havertz. He was in amongst the goals for both Megabit and Umit. And a chance to look at their team, the sort of familiar names involved. Kimmich, Serge Gnabry, that'll be his in-form item. Timo Werner leading the way. At the back. Got Bellarabi that's made a huge run to get back. And a different goalkeeper.
Different goalkeeper between the sticks as well. The Havertz striker, the central Havertz, I should say, central attacking mid striker, whichever position you want to play him, he's certainly the danger man alongside Timo Werner in this Germany team.
Here's Germany. Just want to get that forward with Timo Werner. Kimmich dispossessed eventually then. England will come forward, looking to get their first attack of the game. Mason Greenwood. Remember, it's an 84 overall squad. It is in use for England here. Hence the changes you see in Rashford. Back to goal. And it's a great finish once again. If you can remember it yesterday, saw that same area of Marcus Rashford. It was in the left top corner. This time in the bottom corner. And that's exactly what Rashford can do. Left foot, right foot. It doesn't matter for the Manchester United man. And that'll be the first goal for Tom in this time.
A beautiful finish. Dragged back into that near post shot. Marcus Rashford giving Tom a real big goal and a big lead in this matchup against his toughest opponent he will face in this tournament in Umit.
That's the class that we've sort of come accustomed to see from Tom going forward. Rashford involved. Rashford on the score sheet. England leading the way in this PS4 tie. How will Germany respond? Saw Eggstein in possession there, player that was heavily involved in the tie yesterday, sort of the box-to-box midfielder.
And he's another one of those players that you can get him in at an 86 rated and quite a low rating, high value player is Eggstein. The foot birthday, skill move, weak foot upgrade that he does possess as well. And he is a very usable centre defensive midfielder or centre midfielder, whatever formation you want to play with Eggstein in that central role.
See the possession stat there, pretty even between the two. This first third of the match. The only thing in the difference is the scoreline. That is in England's way. 1-0 after that goal from Marcus Rashford. Tom yet to concede a goal in today's matches. Won his first game 3-0 against Switzerland, and their PlayStation representative of Lubo currently 1-0 up, looking for a second against Umit. Slightly confused there. The ball did go to Rashford and he needed some sort of support. Tried to find Jadon Sancho. Unfortunately played it just a little bit behind him.
Are you surprised with how low the squad rating is in this game, given how much talent both Germany and England have? That I think it was Umit who did decide to go with the 84 rated squad. Would you expect that to be a little bit higher? Ball whipped into that back post. Raheem Sterling, great chance. Good save.
Well, it's an interesting play, isn't it, from Emmett? You don't know how the teams are selected. Say England and Tom would say, I want to play with an 86 rated squad, and Emmett was to say 84. It would be the lower squad that sort of would be the decision every single time. I mean, Germany, full of talent. Special items, as you said, team of the season Werners. You know, many team of the season players. Team of the year items that have been dropped over sort of the last 6 months. But maybe in the back of Emmett's mind, he was sort of afraid of what England also had to offer. I know that teams like Switzerland and Poland have naturally gone for a lower squad just because of the number of items they do have.
It just suits them, doesn't it? As well, to make it fair, it's the smartest thing to do. I'm actually surprised it's as high as an 82 and 81. I probably expected maybe an 80 or a 79, and then you're really throwing England off. That ball over the top, Bellarabi getting onto it. Good defending from Tom, just making sure and getting that cleared.
Half time, England do lead by 1-0, and what a goal it was from Marcus Rashford. The drag back into the finish is how the two teams are separated, and that's a sort of match package that you would be happy to have a look at half time. Not allowed him to have a single shot. He might have had more possession, but all that matters is the scoreline. At the end of the day, 4-2-3-1 in action as we expected to see. Max Aarons has played his part. Looking across that back line, it's a solid back line for England. Wan-Bissaka, Tomori, Rio Ferdinand, Max Aarons, and very much a solid goalkeeper that offers you a lot of height in goal, and that's Nick Pope.
I mean, the entire team, really. Trent and Gerrard at CDMs. 7 out of 10 performers going forward. You've got 89 Sterling, 88 Sancho, and then the two real standout performers, FUT future stars Mason Greenwood and FUT birthday Marcus Rashford.
We'll go into the referee's book. Mason Greenwood, just a yellow card. We find ourselves back underway for the second half. Remember that Germany did drop points to Poland. After them, it did win his game 1-0 against Milos. But El Polaco with a huge 3-1 victory.
El Polaco, somewhat of a, you'd even say, underrated player. He's somebody that we've seen in tournaments before. Brandon, in FIFA 18, we saw El Polaco really make a splash, making a semi-final of a regional tournament and a national tournament. Played at the playoffs as well. He's a player that can compete. Just, I think online qualifying is quite tough for him for the global series events.
I think one thing on top of that we haven't even spoken about, and we will when England do play Poland, is that there's only 5 places in the global series rankings that separate Megabit and El Polaco in that one. El Polaco actually in 24th, a player that sort of got under the radar this year on the Xbox. Megabit sitting in 19th in the world, did lose that game by 3-1. So it was always going to be a competitive one. Just Poland that got the upper hand and have really shaken things up in terms of seeding for today. It's all gone in England's favour though. Top of the group, 7 points they were on coming into today. 10 points they are now on. And looking even better than they did yesterday. England lead by 1-0 against Germany in this PS4 leg.
There's always room for a comeback with a 1-goal scoreline, especially in FIFA 20. 1 goal is not safe. Ever, really, in my opinion. There's always chance to the ball to bounce away from you, the ball to have a mind of its own. Timo Werner just straying offside that.
Well, the confidence that Tom must have at the moment is that he's not allowed Umit to have a single effort at goal. That's only sort of going to replicate how well he's defended. Mason Greenwood, if England can get a second, it will allow him to have some sort of breathing space. Rashford back to Gerrard, back to Rashford. Greenwood just trying to touch that one back. Rashford round his man. Scoop turn off the post.
The bounce going here, there and everywhere, but somehow continuing to stick to Rashford's boot inside the box. Another chance here for England. Rashford building up on the edge. He wants that quick tiki-taka passing with his central defensive midfielders getting involved in the attack. Greenwood looking for the ball of Sterling.
Just see a slight bit of frustration there for Tom. He knows that on any other day that pass would go through and that chance from Rashford would find the back of the net. The positives he needs to take is that he's creating chances. Here's another chance for England. Great ball around Wan-Bissaka. Bursting run down this right-hand side. Accelerated fake shot in. Inside the box and thought he was going to get Perska here.
He's a solid centre-half though. He's Cahet. PSG man. He's that offside trap played nicely. It's not Gnabry. In behind. Aarons. Left for door. Serge Gnabry scores. I told you, it's not safe. 1-0 is not safe. One shot, one goal. You see Tom's got a little friend there, 13 minutes in, I believe. Archie joining the fray, giving Tom a little bit of advice. What you want to do is not let him run past you, Tom.
Something on those lines, but Tom will be disappointed to concede there. It was an offside trap, which he said played, and when you get a player like Serge Gnabry, you just run and run and run. You sort of also caught between two minds in terms of, is he going to cross it? Is he going to, not cross it, I mean, but like drill it across the goal? Is he going to look for a man towards the back post? Or is he just going to go on his own? And Serge Gnabry did go on his own and has made it 1-1. How has that goal changed things? 10 minutes left. Tom looking to create a chance. Rashford into Jadon Sancho. Tom was trying to get into that rhythm.
Touch.
Game is sort of on a knife's edge in terms of which way it's going to swing. Hoping for an England chance and an England goal to give Tekkz just a little cushion. Take into that megabit tie that will be following this matchup.
A losing goal right now would be heartbreak for England. Havertz, that's beautiful
Havertz
on the edge of the box. What a save.
I mean, he's just trying to defend that, which sort of seems impossible. He's turning this way, faking to go that way, drag back after drag back. Lucky it was a Nick Pope. Poor that. I'm sure that chance went round the corner. Not into the back of the net. 1-1 the scoreline. Is it going to end like this? England get the ball back. Minute 15. With additional time left, the ball has to go forward. It's a huge ball forward. Corner or something. Referee's going to end the game there. 1-1 will be the end of the score. And that will conclude leg one on the PlayStation 4. Tom 1, Umit 1. And it'll be all up for grabs on this Xbox tie between Tekkz and Megabit. And it just all came down to that chance again. It's the offside trap of sort of nightmares that we always talk about.
And when you're playing against Umit, who is very much a defensive player. His strength is in defending. You're not going to create 10, 15 chances like we have done against Switzerland. So you have to hope that the chances that you create, you score. That one with Rashford hitting the post. He had another one in the first half, I think, which hit the goalkeeper. On a different day, this is 2-1, and you're going in with a lead for Tekkz. Whereas right now, I said it before the game started, this game's going to be sort of separated in the second leg between Tekkz and Megabit.
I mean, we're pretty much going into a 0-0 scenario now, aren't we, in terms of this next game against Germany? As we said, Megabit will be in action. He did beat Tekkz 3-2 yesterday. Two players that have rich history in terms of competitive games over the last couple of years, whether it's FIFA 18, FIFA 19, or this year on FIFA 20. It's not been the same sort of season from Germany's Megabit compared to Tekkz, who's once again top of the pile on Xbox. But Tekkz will want to win this game after losing yesterday. And as you said, maybe not having the favour of the bounces or all the luck in the world. This will be a game that he really want to win.
Absolutely. And the pressure seemingly put back on Tekkz now. Tom hasn't won the game in the first leg, and Tekkz needs to come out and win this match to get England another 3 points and pretty much solidify their place as a top 2 finish. But 1-1 between Tom and Umit. Let's hear what he thinks after that game.
Well, it's all level now going into match number 2. 1-1 there for the first match. It was Tom, of course, taking on Umit of Germany. I think we can speak to Tom right now to hear what he had to say after that match. Tom, I'm going to start things off with, who was the person making a cameo during that
match? My nephew came in just as I conceded as well, and he actually asked to take over, but I said, unfortunately, I'm the one that has to play for England, so he couldn't, and I had to get him gone. But yeah, it was my nephew that came in.
Oh, you don't have that happening at studios, do you? You have a manager potentially on your shoulder. We just heard from Tekkz, actually, after his first matchup. He said he really thrives in the pressure situations of a studio. Do you prefer being at home when your nephew can come in, or do you prefer being in a studio when you kind of tunnel vision, zoomed in on what you have to do?
If I'm honest, I prefer like the studio setup, all the big lights on, the commentary, like knowing that you're in that big place with the energy of like all the other people around you. Obviously, due to the situation, we can't do that. So playing from home is a good substitute, but yeah, it was a bit weird. I don't think I've ever played a competitive FIFA match, and my nephews came in and told me what to do. But, you know, part and parcel of working from home, I suppose.
What did he tell you, out of interest?
He said, can you have the controller? He wants to play. I didn't think I was that bad.
I thought he was giving you a team talk. I don't know what he was saying. Anyway, let's move on with the game. You played Umit there of Germany. We know how good he is. He's 4th ranked in the world. You're 3rd ranked in the world. We knew it was going to be tricky. Are you happy with a draw?
Not really. I think I should have scored. I had a spell, about 5-10 minute match where I think I definitely could have gone 2-0 up if I made a better decision here or there. And then he punished me when I made a mistake. Umit likes to play that way, where he's very much waiting for you to make an error. I made the error with the offside trap and he scored straight from it. But yeah, it was frustrating. I think I should have gone 2-0 up. I hit the post, but there was a few just before that where I didn't make the right decision. So yeah, ultimately I'm frustrated with the draw, to be honest.
Well, with your FIFA manager head on now, does Max Aarons keep his place for tomorrow over Kyle Walker, or is he going out as well?
No, I like Max Aarons. He's done me a solid in there. He's playing well on his left foot, which is the main thing from a left back. So obviously using the channels a hell of a lot. So Max Aarons on the left is working out well so far.
Great. Thanks so much, Tom. We have one more matchup to go for you. So we'll let you go and prep for that one, and we will leave you be. Right, speak to you in a bit. There we have it. Hashtag Tom there, drawing in that matchup against Germany. But we still have the second leg of that match to come with Tekkz taking on Megabit. He was defeated by the Germany yesterday, but as we can see in FIFA, anything can happen. I'll bring back in our 2 commentators now, Richard and Brandon. We just heard from Tom, and we just heard about who the little chap was in his screen. It was, of course, his nephew there. It's always makes things a bit interesting, doesn't it, on these kind of calls and what's going on with people coming in and cats and whatever. But he managed to kind of put that out of his mind. He got the draw. He said he wasn't happy, though, Brandon. I mean, I guess, yes, he's right, because he did get the victory over Umit yesterday.
I think the key thing for Tom is that he's still, is technically unbeaten today in what he's done. He scored 4 goals, only conceded 1. It's a game that he would have wanted to win. He played the offside trap that we did allude to in the commentary that said there's such a sort of high risk with that. But speaking of his special guest and his nephew that came on camera, I think he tried to get a small cameo yesterday on the broadcast, but finally got a sort of breakthrough today for him. And the fact he just conceded as well, I'm sure it threw him off a little bit. But still, a great draw for him, and it really makes this next game an exciting one between Megabit and Tekkz.
Yeah, it does. We'll kind of come to that in a bit, but I actually just wanted to talk a little bit about being an eLion, because we haven't really mentioned that. And if people are just kind of tuning in, we're watching obviously the Play Unite 2020 tournament. England eLions are playing in this tournament. Richard, I'm going to come to you. People at home are going, I want to be able to represent England on the FIFA, on the virtual pitch. These guys have been in with the England team now since 2019. It's not an easy feat, though, is it, to qualify for England? Just talk about how they kind of came to become an eLion.
Yeah, it was a tournament last year in which we were looking to find the 2 players that would represent England in the FIFA E-Nations Cup. Tom won it on a penalty shootout, his PlayStation spot, and Tekkz won his spot on the Xbox side of things. Both of those 2 players have been fantastic for England, not only on the pitch as well, but off the pitch. They've been role models, they've been doing content, they've been doing shoots with the England players. They've really set a standard. And I think for any other competing pro, you have to take their spot. You can't just sort of ask for it. These 2 players, they've earned this spot. And for anyone out there wanting to take it, you've got to beat them for it. You have to prove why you deserve to be an eLion. Because Tom and Tekkz are delivering right now.
Yeah, they're not going to let that jersey go anytime soon. But I think we can see now the next lineup from our next eLion Tekkz. Boys, can't wait for this one. It's Tekkz taking on Megabit, England taking on Germany. Talk us through this one, Brandon.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this one as well, Rachel. This is the team that will be in use for Tekkz. As we said, it's an 84 overall team. So it's Max Aaron's also involved. We're looking at John Barnes getting the nod, Richard. Stevie G making it back into the England lineup. I know Tekkz is a huge Liverpool fan. Sterling out on the right. The strike force of Jadon Sancho and Rashford will once again be apparent. But sort of that midfield duo of past and present, Gerrard and Trent Alexander-Arnold, will be what we will be keeping a close eye on in this one.
Yeah, John Barnes coming in on that left wing spot. Ryan Kent not in the team. So, I mean, the first thing I've got to ask is, which version of John Barnes is it? Is it the mid or the prime? I doubt he can get the prime moments in, as he's a 91 rated player. I don't know if the rating would allow him to have such a high rated player in the team, but it could be the 87 or the 89 rated versions of John Barnes. We'll get confirmation of that very shortly indeed. But Ryan Kent dropping out of the team and John Barnes coming in, the only real noticeable change in that squad from yesterday.
I've just heard it's the 87 version of John Barnes, so certainly an interesting one that he's been happy to move into this team. And he's sort of kicked out Ryan Kent, which is a player that, as we said, it's been an absolute nightmare across the last couple of days. Whether it's a case of he wants to back John Barnes instead of Ryan Kent. We've seen Tom use John Barnes previously with a sort of lower overall rated squad that he could use. But let's turn our attentions to this game as we jump into it now. Yesterday, Megabit did beat Tekkz 3-2 after Tekkz started so well. Tekkz was leading in the game on a couple of occasions, but Megabit was just sort of fighting back again and again. The difference is this time, Richard, there isn't that sort of goal cushion for Tekkz to lie on that he did have yesterday after Tom's 2-1 win against Dummett.
And looking back at the game, he probably deserved to get something out of it, did Tekkz. Whether that be a draw or even a win. A couple of the goals that Megabit did score, quite unlucky. In all honesty, the bouncers sort of going against him. But here Tekkz comes into the match. Level pegging. It's just a one-leg game of FIFA. Whoever wins this match will be victorious and will take 3 points in Tournament A.
Well, it must be said that Ryan Kent is actually playing in this team. Sterling is the player that's not involved. Ryan Kent out on the right-hand side. John Barnes is involved out on the left. Ryan Kent, a player that still remains in Tekkz, starting 11. And the key difference between the two German players and the German squads that they've been rocking, it's the Megabit He's a fan of Leroy Sané. He's involved again on the left-hand side. Kai Havertz being the star for Germany. Once again, part of the starting lineup. And instead of Timo Werner, it's Marco Reus that will lead the way for Germany. Shot comes in. It's awful goalkeeping. It's a fantastic second save from Nick Pope. But for a split second, Germany nearly finding a goal lead.
First save, very questionable. The second save, Nick Pope. Beautiful diving down to his right-hand side. And getting that ankle save to flick it over the crossbar. I think it's the 89 Steven Gerrard in the team and the prime Rio Ferdinand as well for Tekkz. So a couple of notable changes between Tekkz and Tom's 84 rated squads.
Minutes played. It's been an edgy start to this one in terms of Germany having that chance. Serge Gnabry with a very audacious finish at goal. Never should be troubling the goalkeeper, but Nick Pope did make amends for the error. Rashford with Tekkz, still Marcus Rashford. David Costa gets a foot out. Great press from Max Aarons. Here's the icon, John Barnes. You know, Tekkz has got this sort of flair that he can turn on whenever he wants. There's a small taster of it there. I mean, what do you make of that, Richard, in terms of Timo Werner out, Marco Reus in?
I mean, Marco Reus was a player that we saw used yesterday for Megabit in the attacking sense. He sort of used him as a cam and then used Werner as an out-and-out striker. But he brought in Leroy Sané as well, who is a player I'm surprised we didn't see used more frequently, in all honesty, among Umit's team as well. But he clearly likes Werner. He rates Werner and wants to play him in the team. But just Havertz and Reus in the central area for Megabit. I think that also goes to show the personal game styles as well. Timo Werner, much more of a counter-attacking player, much more of a player who can sit in and then hit him on the sort of halfway line in behind the defender and transition quickly. Whereas both Marco Reus and Kai Havertz are players that you want to get on the ball, players that are going to turn in close areas, players that are going to have skill moves in the disposal as well. And that shows more, for me, the difference between Umit and Megabit's playstyle rather than anything that he doesn't like about Werner, or vice versa with Marco Reus.
We didn't see the first leg on PlayStation between Tom and Umit. It did finish 1-1. As Richard said a few times, this is a must-win for Germany. They dropped points against Poland, which means that England currently are 3 points clear in this group. England trying to build into an attack here, though. Gerrard. Two options around him. Jadon Sancho, John Barnes, four attackers. There's so many green Germany shirts in the way.
Just a wall, isn't it, of Germany players back there defending high up the pitch.
Tekkz getting a little bit irritated there. Struggling to find that rhythm. Megabit now, Marco Reus into Leroy Sané. Germany get the breakthrough.
And it's been one of those games where it's just end-to-end FIFA sort of thing. Tekkz hasn't really created that many chances, but he's had a lot of the possession, whereas Megabit, again, every single player there inside his own half, looking to play on the counter-attack. Find it very, very hard to break down this Germany side, and in a must-win game, that's what we labelled it as for Germany. Tekkz starting to become aggravated. You see the lean back in the chair, losing motivation here.
It's tough, isn't it, when you're 1-0 down against a player that
There will be a minimum of 2 minutes of added time.
we know has quality and touches like that. And key players you expect so much more from. Certainly is going to help you. Currently 2-1 to Germany on aggregate, but never write off this man. There's a reason why he's number 1 in the world. Goes for half time. Germany getting that goal. 40 minutes on the clock from Leroy Sané. Give us the all-important break.
I'm surprised that went out for a throw-in. I thought he'd booted it out for a corner. If it was a corner, the referee should have played it. But as we go into half-time, Leroy Sané with that 40th minute goal, putting Megabit 1-0 up, which in turn puts Germany 2-1 up. Stats at half-time, shots and shots on target in favour of Germany. England having the lion's share of possession, 59%.
Just that final ball, isn't it? We've seen how defensive Germany have been, how they've been controlling the midfield. It's all about trying to get that ball into Rashford and into Sancho and giving them a bit of space and time to implement the drag backs and the skill moves that we know Tekkz likes to use. And hopefully, we have to see this in the second half, a change of game plan. For Tekkz. Might be the difference. We're underway. 4-4-2. Can be in use if he wants to change to it. With Sancho and Rashford being the out-and-out strikers. Expect goals in this second half. They scored 5 between the two of them in yesterday's match. Tekkz in full focus. Waiting patiently to get back on the ball. Does win the ball back, but finds it hard to contain off the post. Marco Reus. That could have been 2 for Germany.
That could have really been game over as well, Brandon. The double tap pass into Marco Reus. Fired it in at that near post. On another day, it's game over. 3-1. Tekkz still alive. England still alive in this game.
Here's England. Rashford. Needs an option. Steven Gerrard will be that option. Fizzed into Jadon Sancho. Wants to drag back. Unfortunately drags back into danger. It's the Emre Can man, the match item we spoke about yesterday, Richard, who finds a spot. Out the back. Megabit's team. Advantage played by the referee. Again, another pause cued by Tekkz. He wants to make a change.
Needs to make a change as well. 60 minutes into this game. Not really created too much in the final third, especially, has Tekkz. It's been a lot of this area of possession but the sort of final killer pass really hasn't been there.
Rashford. Let's get dispossessed. Sort of doing everything right is Tekkz, winning the ball back, but doesn't be able to sort of keep hold of it. That's better from Tamori. Just 20 minutes left for England to find a goal. If they do find a goal, the overall tie could end 2-2, which would be a point to evenation.
And Paul's still in queue for Tekkz. Another 10 minutes have gone down since he did initially want to pause the game. Chancing behind Marco Reus. Red card, it's got to be. It's only a yellow
Gets
for
away
Tamori.
with it. Tekkz for a split second thought that was going to be a straight red, but clearly the referee says that there was another player in line to ensure it wasn't last man. This is the change we'll expect to see. More players forward. That depth bar has to be higher. Just needs one chance. We know Tekkz. He can create a chance from nothing. Minutes to find a goal. Well, Megabit, on the other hand, wants to see this one out. Marco Reus, of course, will dummy it. Plays short. Combination of German midfielders eventually play the ball back to the German defence. Danny Da Costa involved. Another wave of attack for Germany. Marco Reus pushed to ground. Fair tackle, the referee says. Here we go. The rivalry between these two nations that's gone on for so many years that continues to cross to the virtual field. It's Gerrard from distance, stinging the hands of Leno, but nothing more than that.
Got to see more going forward for Tekkz, but as you go more attacking, these opportunities are going to open up at the back also.
Great tackle. Picks up the
Let's go.
loose ball, and England are struggling. They've got their players so far forward, Richard. It's trying to find Trent or Steven Gerrard in the midfield. England come forward again.
Come on.
Rashford. Into Jadon Sancho. Is there a way around the corner? It's just the wrong pass.
He's put team press on as well, has Tekkz here. The gap's opened up in the middle. Marco Reus.
What's a save?
Get in, what a save. Still on. The chance is still there.
Unbelievable save. I mean, that is one of those chances. You have so much time to think about it. There comes a danger. England in it, though. As England put more numbers forward and they try and put the depth higher, naturally there are going to be gaps that will appear in the back that Tekkz has to be careful of. England need one more chance. Could this be the chance again? There's just a German player in the way. Wins it back to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Here come England. Rashford. The timing of the ball's everything into Ryan Kent. Referee.
How's that not a foul?
Referee. He's tackled him from behind.
It looked like he came straight through the back of him.
Another day, you see a red card for that. Wins the ball back one more time. Has to do more with it. It's another big tackle. Eventually, the referee does find his whistle. Piece of magic is needed. It's a bad ball again. Added time to follow. Presses everything from England. Max Aarons gets a toe on it, but not enough. And will he be onside? He will. Kai Havertz to make it 2 for Germany. Again, it's an unbelievable recovery tackle, but there just won't be enough time to get the ball forward, or will there?
Nope.
That will do us. And Germany will take a huge win.
In what was a must-win game, Germany coming out victorious in the end, 2-1, after Megabit doing the business in that second leg. It was a 1-1 draw between Tom and Umut, a 1-0 victory for Megabit in that match.
Yeah, it's a tough one, wasn't it, for Tekkz? He was just trying to find his rhythm, wasn't he? And he just couldn't get going in terms of there was always a German playing the way it seemed. He went attacking at the end into what seemed like a 4-2-4 to try and get so many numbers forward. And in the end, Germany do take a win. And after dropping points for Germany, that is, as you said, Richard, a must-win game. And they've got to put out a huge result when it tightened things up even more. England dropped 3 points. Germany then bounced back up to 10 points. And it goes back to goal difference, where England will still just about be in front.
And obviously, we don't know the Poland result yet, but if Poland were to beat Switzerland, then they would even be in contention and moving up the table as well, Brandon. So there's a real battle for the top two right now, and to get that sort of winners bracket game, or the top two seeded matchup, shall we say, after the end of play today, moving into the final two games, we're taking on Poland, got to get any sort of point on the board to solidify that top two finish.
Well, someone's opinion that I'd love to hear about that game would be Rachel Stringer. I believe she'll join us now to talk about the game that we just saw there. Rachel, a very tough sort of defeat to take for England, but, I mean, we still got that game against Poland now to look forward to, but Germany, they needed that. They really needed that win.
Yeah, frustrating, isn't it, I think, for England fans. Obviously, if you were tuning in yesterday, you saw that England Tekkz went down to Germany yesterday. It is, of course, Megabit who he's playing against. A really top performer, a FIFA player on the Xbox side of things. But I guess what was interesting to me is that Tekkz, I think, probably would have liked to have gone in on an even playing field. He mentioned it yesterday. He said when he has got too many goals in his favour, if Tom has scored too many goals, he actually does relax and sit back a bit and rest maybe a little bit on his laurels. So I thought we were going to see this really fired up Tekkz coming out, even, all things to play for. But like I think Richard said, you could see his body language move. As soon as Megabit got that first goal, he was really up in his screen playing FIFA, and then he kind of relaxed and looked a bit defeated. So I think we all get a chance to speak to him at the end of this tournament. I'm not going to speak to him right now, Tekkz that is, but I'd like to just hear about that, because he did say again he does like the high pressure situations. And if it was in a studio environment, if we were lucky enough to be playing it like we usually do, he would probably have a coach on his shoulder, in his ear, kind of urging him on. He doesn't have that, of course, now. So maybe that's something that Tekkz really is missing. But Rich, why do you think Germany did cause England and Tekkz so many problems?
I think it was the sort of the way that Megabit was playing as well. He soaked up the pressure, he played on the counter-attack, and he played a very good game on the counter-attack, defended well. I also look at when Tom and Tekkz are together, you've always got Tom motivating. You've got him saying, come on, let's get a result here. Come on, come on, come on. Whereas when Tekkz, I mean, he even said it on his own, he does feel less motivated to really apply himself to the top. He sort of just sits back a little bit. He looks relaxed. He doesn't really seem fully up for these games. And when he has got that lead to fall back onto, you can play like that. But when it's a one-goal game, when it's a second leg performance that you have to win, you can't really play against that, especially against somebody of Megabit's ability.
A question I was having, obviously we just saw there, Nick Pope made a great save at the end to keep it 1-0. Why are they sticking with Nick Pope and not going for a different English keeper? Obviously they could go for Jordan Pickford, for example. Why is Pope the one in this tournament? I
think the height of Nick Pope, he's a big boy in goal. He covers a lot of ground. And also, he's a good rating, and you get a low rating and a high value out of him. What I mean by that is, you're getting an 82 rated goalkeeper. Pickford's regular is 83, so you're getting an informed 82 rated goalkeeper, and it means that you can then improve the rest of your team. You usually see it in restrictions of squads. Most of the time it will be the goalkeeper that is weakened and the fullbacks that are weakened. You want a strong centre of the pitch, striker, cam, CDM, centre-backs. That's where you really strengthen the team. Your core of the team is strong, and then your wide players and your goalkeeper tend to get the lower ratings, and they tend to be the weakened players.
Okay, so height is why Pope gets a nod over players such as Pickford. Okay, let's look ahead to the next matchup. We have Poland. That was our first matchup yesterday, and Tom unfortunately got a loss, and Tekkz got the win. How do we see this one playing out? We hope it doesn't go like it did yesterday, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different unknown quantity as well. With Poland, they've put 2 brand new players in. If you look at the results that they've had, I think we'll get confirmation very shortly about their result against Switzerland. But beating Germany in the first game of the day is a big turn up for them. They took the game and they won it. So it then goes on to sort of signify they could be pushing on. I said it in the commentary, for a top 2 finish. If they got a result against Switzerland, they're coming into this game right now full of confidence, thinking we can just beat England. We got a decent result against Tom yesterday. If their player in El Polaco just saw that game between Megabit and Tekkz, he beat Megabit. So FIFA maths, if he beat him and I beat that person, then I should beat Tekkz. That's what he's thinking.
Well, welcome back, Brandon. We just lost you there. Sorry, obviously there's always technical problems when we're trying to broadcast from each other's homes. So do forgive us, guys, if you are watching. We just lost Brandon for a few minutes there. Brandon, we're just looking forward to the Poland game. Actually, last one of the day, crucial one. We saw it kind of mixed response yesterday. Tom losing, Tekkz winning. We just said, obviously, 2 new players, though, for Poland. Mentally, what will that do to Tom and Tekkz going, oh, someone else to contest now?
I mean, it's you see it in both ways, don't you? You'll see that, not really any complacency because you're not playing the same 2 players. You're playing against 2 sort of fresh outfits in Milos, a player that has been involved in FIFA eSports for many years. Obviously plays for Liga Warsaw. And on top of that, El Polaco, 24th he sits in the world rankings on Xbox. Sort of like a player that's gone under the radar in the Unite Play 2020 tournament and from what we've seen. But I think that sort of the key terms we need to talk about today is just points have been dropped. I mean, for all different nations, which has mixed things up even more. We know that all 4 nations will be involved tomorrow. It's just who's going to take the top 2. I know England will 100% be in that top 2, but they want to get that top spot, don't they, to get that sort of second chance when we get into knockout football tomorrow.
Yeah, it's all come back to how it was at the beginning of the day, I think. It's just goal difference which separates England from Germany. Hopefully we'll have a chance to see that in a little bit just by how many goals we are leading at the moment. For those guys who are tuning in and don't really know much about FIFA, obviously welcome to Play Unite 2020 tournament. You're watching the eLions, the 2 England players here, take on Germany, Poland and Switzerland. Guys, if people don't really know about Tekkz and Tom, Richard, just quickly sum up how good Tekkz is.
Tekkz is regarded in the conversation as the greatest player to ever play FIFA.
He's the GOAT.
Yeah, a lot of people regard him as that. There's a couple of people in the conversation for the greatest player ever. He burst onto the scene in FIFA 18, his first ever event. He won that event at 16 years of age. He then went into the rest of the FIFA 18 season, and he didn't really blow us away, but he made the events. He didn't play up to that standard. FIFA 19, people were calling him a one-tournament wonder, and he absolutely dominated everybody. He won like 7 different major events. He won the E-Premier League. He was the FIFA Club World Cup champion, multiple FUT Cup winner, and made a grand final as well. FIFA 20, people said, oh, in FIFA 19, it was just his year. He can't do it again. FIFA 20 came out, he won the first FUT Cup of the year, and he is the #1 ranked player in the world. That's your 1 minute history of Donovan Hunt, aka Tekkz.
I said keep it short, but whenever I say to Rich keep anything short, he makes it super long. I'm not even going to go to Brandon yet for Tom's CV. We can do that after we've had a look at how the standings currently lie after 2 matchups. 1 still to go in the group bracket. Here we are. Okay, narrowly at the top, sits England. 10 points. So do Germany. They also have 10 points, but +9 on goal difference. That is going to be crucial. We saw England score so many goals yesterday. 16 in total they have. Poland then sitting in third place. Look how close that is. 9 points on the table, just 1 point behind England and Germany. Switzerland still without a point to their name as it stands, but there is still one matchup to go and nobody is going home today. But that top of the table there, between those three nations, England, Germany and Poland, guys, is so tense. We have Poland next, as we just said. I mean, it's making it into super exciting first ever Play Unite 2020 Cup. I don't think, Brandon, we expected it to be that close, did we?
I don't think we did, especially after day one when we saw England and Germany run away with it, and then today started in the most perfect way possible of England getting that gap on Germany and Poland. But Poland have sort of been the nation of the day, so to speak, in terms of what we've seen from them. We've seen 2 great performances. Unfortunately, not the tournament to remember for Switzerland. They still will be involved tomorrow, as you said, Rachel. Everyone is involved in the knockout bracket tomorrow. But we're going up against the Poland side here that are going to be full of confidence. And I think that's where we've kind of got to be on it from the word go, especially in Tom's game against Milos. Get some goals, get some confidence back into the boys. And then obviously when Tekkz plays his game, he's up against an El Polaco that, as we've seen from the results, is not just been full of confidence, he's been full of goals today.
But Brandon, let's just get everyone excited about Tom and his game against Poland. Richard just told us Texas CV. Tom's not too bad a FIFA player either, is he?
I mean, he's sort of been the PlayStation Player of the Year, you'd honestly go and say, in terms of what we've seen. He's third in the Global Series rankings. He's had an unbelievable season at both #United and Fnatic. He went on loan with Fnatic, who Tekkz obviously does play for. That's his parent sort of eSports organisation. They played at the eClub World Cup, did really well there in Milan, and Tom's just had big performances all year long, and it's replicated him representing England, being, the highest ranked English player on the PlayStation rankings. And he's still got tournaments like the summer series that he's involved in. He's already bagged, I think it was like $9,000 there for making it to the final. So it really has been a year to remember for him. And if England can go and get a great result now and then head into tomorrow's bracket with even more confidence, it's just been a year of sort of achievements for Tom. And I'm sure this is a tournament that they'll look to sort of add another achievement to.
I wanted you to say that, Brandon, because if Tom is listening before he plays his final matchup, it just kind of boosts his confidence and it just gives him a little pat on the back saying, you know what, I've done pretty well this year. But I think let's have a look and see if we can see the team Tom is going to put out for his last matchup in the group brackets. Obviously, they're taking on Poland, like we just mentioned, a new team he's going up against, a new player, should I say, than what he faced yesterday. But we'll have a look at it. 82 ranked team is what we're looking at here. Here it is, boys, for the final time. For Tom, talk us through his side, please.
No problem at all, Rachel. And 82 overall, Richard. So it's another different squad that we're looking at here. Nathan Redmond back into the fold. It's Barnes again, who's been sort of Mr. Reliable in the midfield. For Tom, we didn't get to see Tekkz really use him to his full advantage. I think he was sort of wasted out on that left-hand side. But sort of the same standard team that we saw yesterday when Tom played against Poland.
Yeah, the only difference between the 81 and the 82 rated squads, really, from what I can see, is Rio Ferdinand coming in instead of Joe Gomez and Gerrard coming in for Jordan Henderson, with Barnes and Shelby sticking in the squad, Redmond, Sancho and Rashford. I think one thing that we have to think about right now is the goal difference, and the Germany game that is going to be taking place right now is Germany against Switzerland. You would expect Germany to beat Switzerland. So looking further forward, we need to get a result here against Poland. It's imperative that we beat Poland in this matchup to solidify a top 2 finish, with Germany taking on Switzerland, who have yet to register a point on the table.
Yeah, it's sort of a little bit of a situation we're worried about, in terms of if there was a big if there, if Poland were to come out and sort of go all guns blazing in terms of a performance here, because Switzerland haven't picked up a point. I mean, it would be incredible if they could go out and go and get a point over the 2 legs. But they've played 5, they've lost 5, they conceded a lot of goals, they're in the minus on the goal difference, and they've sort of just struggled. And you put that down to the team they've had, maybe the sort of the lack of out-and-out strikers they've had and sort of attacking players. And that's sort of how they've played out this Play Unite tournament. But we need to win it, as you said, Richard. If we were worst case scenario to lose it, Germany win, we go down to third, and we find ourselves in that lower seed matchup, which we do not want to be in. And fingers crossed, we pray that we will not be in that after hopefully a really impressive 2 legs that are going to be coming up in a minute.
Absolutely, Brandon. We saw the names on the team sheet. Let's have a look at the in-game FUT items that will be in use for Tom here in this 182 rated squad matchup against Poland. We'll have those with you any second. There you go. It's going to be Jadon Sancho, Rashford and Nathan Redmond as the front three, with John Barnes slotting in at central attacking midfielder. John Joe Shelby, who not only am I a big fan of, but he's having a lot of support in the chat as well. We can see the live chats right now, also across the sites that we are streaming this event on, alongside Steven Gerrard at CDM, and then another icon in the defence, Rio Ferdinand, partnering Chris Smalling with Wan-Bissaka's in form, and Kyle Walker getting a nod back in the team because he can't make Max Aaron's work with the rating, with Pope in goal.
It's a bit of a love-hate relationship with Kyle Walker for Tom in terms of what we saw yesterday. A bag of mixed performances from the fullback of Manchester City. He might be off chem slightly, but it's the quality that the man just offers you in the team. Someone that deserves an honourable mention as well, which is Chris Smalling, an in-form Chris Smalling, 83 rated overall. Why has he been such an appeal for both players to use?
I mean, he's tall. He's got quite a lot of pace about him as well. Obviously, it's not the team of the season variant of Chris Smalling, but the game I'm hearing is just about to get underway, Brandon, and hopefully we'll see another great performance from Chris Smalling in our final matchup here for Tom against Poland.
Well, here we go then. It's going to be Tom against Milos. I think the one thing we'll be looking at is how this team is setting up. So you can see where the potential errors are in this. A number of silvers at the back for Miloshin. So he's gone to put the rating further forward into the attack. With Milik, Joswiak, Lewandowski, team of the season, 99 overall. Yes, they've got a very strong goalkeeper, but is that a sort of risk that Poland have sort of gone out to make?
Well, I also think with the squad that Poland possess, Rashford, early chance here, looking for the finesse shot, you have to sort of get the rating up as well. I don't think it's keeping the rating down. I think it's getting it up. So using a 99 and a 95, Lewandowski and Szczesny respectively, balances out the team rating.
Early start from England, looking to find the first goal in this tie, as we said, sort of a must-win. They want to take top seed, and it would go down to goal difference between England and Germany. Jadon Sancho tries to find his way through this Poland defence. Wins it back. He's been the danger man, Marcus Rashford. He will continue to be that danger man as well. His FUT birthday item, probably say, has been England's top goal scorer. He's been involved in everything. One player for Poland, though, that Tom sort of has bad memories about yesterday against Dami was Lewandowski in front of goal. I think he had like 2 chances, Richard, and he scored them both.
He's just so clinical, isn't he, in front of goal, Lewandowski. He honestly is arguably the number one of the number one finishers in FIFA, to be honest. Not only in a Polish team, but across the entirety of FIFA Ultimate Team. He's got everything you want in a central striker, does Robert Lewandowski.
One tactical change you can see that's been made is Piszczek moved into centre-back. Chance for Jadon Sancho. The goalkeeper movement was a mistake that Milos will have to deal with.
Jadon Sancho, the main man from what we've seen, him alongside Marcus Rashford in this tournament. They're probably 2 of the only players that have featured a variation of their FUT item across every single squad. Here we're seeing the 88 right wing Sancho, road to the final. Really clutching up for Tom here against Poland.
And that's their risk. Robert Lewandowski. Gotta be careful of him. Nearly had a chance on goal. It's a free header. That's the threat that he does give to any defence. The fact that it's team of the season, Richard, he's sort of got a sprinkle of pace in amongst all his in-game stats. Important goal, though, for England. Just before the 20th minute. Tom does lead. If you don't know the situation in terms of the final standings, Germany on 10 points. England also on 10 points. England top of the pile, though, on goal difference. Germany up against Switzerland, who have fortunately not won a single tie. Rashford looking to double it for England. He had one more touch on that. He could have played through Steven Gerrard, who was making an ongoing run. It's nice from Poland. Lovely build-up play. Watch out for Lewandowski. That's a Palchetta who scored the goal yesterday, if you can remember rightly. Back to Lewandowski, goes down to ground. Nick Pope gets it fired to his feet, but has the composure to just about deal with it. Smalling into Carl Walker, and that's the strength that the fullback does hold. It's another attack for Poland to come in now. Milik with it. What a save from Nick Pope.
A shake of the head from Tom. He knows that those sort of mistakes out the back will get capitalised on. What a save, though, from Nick Pope, from Milik, and a chance to counter. Could be a red card, you know. He's come straight through the back of him. Only a yellow. He was actually in on goal.
I think Tom's point to that is that he was the last man. The speed that Poland have built into a few attacks and the high line that England have played could be dangerous. Ignore that. Bracket in front of you. I should say graphic. The game is not finished yet. Sounds like a corner was played in. There you go. We're going to a pause eventually. Score is currently 1-0 to England there. Do apologise for that one. That was a pause for Miloš. Be interested to see what he's changed. 4-2-3, what a news for England.
I think the big thing in the chat right now that I'm seeing is just a lot of worrying about Lewandowski. We saw it yesterday, and I'm worried about it right now. If he gets a position inside the box, he's going to score.
And from corners, he's even more deadly. It's 5 minutes away from the first half in, so we can see quite a frustrated Tom in front of us. These last sort of 10 minutes, Poland have got going. Found that rhythm and found this sort of play style they've had today. They've looked deadly going forward. Here's that man, Lewandowski. Rio Ferdinand, probably the best man to mark him up. Ace icon. Rio Ferdinand doing the job back there. Added time to follow. Currently 1-0 to England. It's been a good half. A couple of big saves from Nick Pope.
Official has indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes.
And we were talking about it earlier, me and Rachel, Brandon, about Nick Pope's influence on these games. You've seen it right here, but you've got to stop this man, Lewandowski. Don't let him shoot at the near post. What a save from Nick Pope again.
the long legs of Nick Pope that come to England's rescue again. As you said, it's Lewandowski. You can't let the man have a sniff anywhere in the box. And 3 good chances created at the end of the game. There you can see the halftime stats. What's important here is you can just see that Tom just taking a minute away.
See the formation from Poland as well, 4-2-3-1 with Lewandowski as the central striker. Milik in at cam, a lot of pace around him is the left attacking and right attacking midfielders also. Very similar to the England team, the central striker is the main player in the squad, Lewandowski and Rashford respectively.
If you think back to yesterday's result when these two did match up, England did win 5-4 overall. After Dammy won the first game on PlayStation by 3-2. Tekkz came in against Furman. A 5-star performance that allowed England to get their sort of tournament going in Play Unite 2020. Tom just needs a second goal to settle the nerves. Here we go. Marcus Rashford surely got to be able to finish. Round the goalkeeper. Flick back behind the man. Still a chance. And it's one of those you can only laugh at.
What was that? How did it go behind Barnes?
Just wanted to make sure it was sort of a guaranteed finish, didn't he? Another chance. Marcus Rashford. Back to Gerrard. And a lifeline for Poland. But that ball somehow did not find the feet of Jadon Sancho. England again. Rashford. Elastico. In an attempt to get away from the Polish defender. Does go down to ground. Both players getting in a tangle. But nothing more than that.
Putting up on 30 minutes remaining in this game again. A 1-goal scoreline. I said it in the Germany match. I'll say it here again. In our final game of the evening against Poland. 1 goal is not safe. It's not a safe scoreline.
Just do not let that man get on the ball anywhere near the box. Zielinski into Lewandowski. Gerrard matches him up well. So where Tom sort of has to be on it. He is on it. Smalling wins it. Pause cued by Miloš. Another attacking change to make. There's another chance for England. Just calling out for a second goal. Bit of breathing space. A 2-goal cushion to take into the second game for Tekkz.
Surely he's offside.
Yeah, it was just offside.
25 minutes on the clock. Just having a look at the team.
Tom, and what I expect to see from Poland is them to sort of press high. We saw it in the last kind of 15 minutes in the first half. The sort of Polish press that made it difficult for England.
Seeing Tom editing his attacking change here. Just checking everything's in order.
Back underway. 25 minutes left. England lead by a 1-0. Still have a second match to come up on the Xbox, which will see Tekkz go up against Poland's El Polaco, who has won both of his games today. One against Megabit of Germany and the other against Topic of Switzerland. Now comes into his toughest matches. Against our Xbox eLions in Tekkz.
Thomas deserved a second goal in this game.
Played the advantage there. For a split second we thought he would sort of wait and take the free kick. Yeah, I agree with you there, Richard. He's deserved the second goal. He's got into the right areas. He's just trying to find the back of the net. Back to John Barnes. He wants to find Rashford. He wants to find his feet. Because he knows as soon as it gets to him, it's not a guaranteed goal.
Is this the chance?
Can't find a way through. Rashford did eventually get the ball, but wants to find Jadon Sancho. This could be deadly now. Watch out for Lewandowski.
Oh.
Lucky enough, that's a sort of a misclick of a button.
As the ball goes out of play there, Brandon, just going to give you a little update. Germany, in their first match, won 1-0 against Switzerland. Keeping in the hunt for the top spot in this tournament here.
I mean, for England, that's sort of good because out of the two Switzerland players, it's been Furman, I should say Topic, that's sort of been scoring more goals for Switzerland. Gave Tekkz a couple of competitive games across both today and yesterday. And Poland. That one. Depending on how Megabit's feeling, could certainly go anyway. Chance for Poland. It's one of those where you have to stay composed. And Tom was composed.
Second goal here will be absolutely beautiful for England. Rashford. Great pressure from Piszczek again. I think he's actually playing at centre-back, he's Lucas Piszczek.
Yeah, never mind what Poland have had to work with. They've seemingly played okay. Another chance for England. The second goal would be huge. Get that ball into Rashford. Turns from his man. Back to John Barnes. Rashford goes down to ground. Back to Steven Gerrard. Attack still alive for England. Rashford. Scoop turn. Oh, she runs into a Polish
How is
defender.
that not a foul?
Any time to follow in just a second. We've got to keep Poland out still. Tom does that very well. Chance again for England. This is nice. Numbers forward for him. Rashford round the corner again. There's another Poland defender there.
That's going to be the game.
Just about do it for a split second. I was a little bit worried there about Rio Ferdinand. He got the ball just sort of pinged into his feet from Nick Pope. England, though, the overall factor is we take a win from that game. We take an important goal into the second match. Well, Tekkz will play against Poland's El Polaco on the Xbox. This is the goal we'll see. Maybe again on the replay later on. Tom with a 1-0 win. He'll be feel sort of hard done by. Created chances to make his second, but sort of resilient defending from Poland. And overall, Poland hanging in it.
Yeah, should have got a second goal, in all honesty, Tom, in that game. But now we're moving over to Tekkz. And we've not really seen Tekkz at his best at all in this entire tournament. With only a 1-goal lead, El Polaco's really got something to play for here. He's got, looking at if he can take points away from England here and they go on to win this game, they'll then be pushed into a top 2 finish with Germany currently leading against Switzerland. So this top 2 is all up for grabs still. We need to win this game.
I mean, on top of that as well, we've still got the Germany-Switzerland, so-called second leg. Because, yes, Germany won against Lubo of Switzerland, but it's only by a 1-0. Like, that's a scoreline that could easily be turned over in either way in terms of Germany go away with Megabit and score plenty of goals in the second match. Or on top of that, we see Topic play an unbelievable performance and somehow just claw back that result. I know we should be focusing elsewhere, but it's something we have to keep an eye on because we know we've got better goal difference on Germany. If we can pull out a result here and at least get 3 more points on the board. And even if Germany do win and we win the game, we should, touch wood, still take top spot and on goal difference heading into tomorrow. Which will be even more action. It could be another game against Germany, which will certainly be an enthralling one.
Yeah, without doubt, Brandon. Tom doing the job there, and you see Rachel on the screen. Rachel, take it away. I believe you got a little interview with Tom queued up.
I think we do, guys. Thank you. Yeah, England definitely on the front foot now, aren't they, going into that second leg of the matchup there with Tekkz still to come. Tom, they're taking the victory and burying those demons of yesterday when he did experience that loss to Poland. I believe hashtag Tom is sitting by right now. There he is, Tom. We get there in the end. A few technical glitches. Go away from today, the second round of the tournament, undefeated. That's something nice to add to your collection, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the main difference today was I was warmed up from the go. Yesterday I started a bit slow and found myself 3-0 down. But yeah, today was ready to go straight from the off. Sort of knew a bit more about the team as well, obviously playing with the England team. I haven't done it too much before, I'll be honest. So it's a little bit of a different experience. But I came out well and I think I played well today, yeah.
Yeah, what was different, though, I guess, about the Poland game was that you actually had to play a different competitor than yesterday. Dami was yesterday and Milos was today. How did you find that as well? Because that was something you didn't experience against Switzerland or Germany.
Yeah, I found it a little bit different, to be honest. They have a different game style. I've played against Dami a lot, like in the global series, whereas Milos, I haven't actually played too much this year. So it's kind of hard to get used to it. So yeah, a little bit different, and I think I struggled at times as well.
Well, you didn't manage to get that elusive second goal. What was happening there? It just would not go in. It was like there was a wall in the way of the goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really frustrating. I feel that I could have come out with 2 or 3 there and put Tekkz in a comfortable position. I had a few half chances around the box where maybe I could have shot. Some of my passes weren't right. Sometimes just weren't happening. So yeah, it was a bit frustrating. I was getting a bit wound up on myself because I knew that I could get a second goal. It was there on the plate, but I suppose I did win in the end, so there is some positive out of it.
Absolutely. Tekkz now still to come. What advice would you give him if he's listening going into this final matchup of the day?
Play how he plays. Play on the front foot. I'd tell him to go for it. Don't sit on a 1-goal lead. We're both not really like that anyway. We don't like defending too much and camping in and watching our opponent play. We'd rather both play on the front foot. So I'd tell him to play his high press and go for it. Go for it. Don't think about my leg. It's only 1 goal. And if he wins or draws his leg, he'll be fine. So, yeah, mainly just to be aggressive is my main advice for him.
Well, absolutely. Well, your job is done, Tom. So sit back, relax, and watch Tekkz. The final matchup is coming up now. England taking on Poland. Final match of the day. They're on the front foot at the moment. 1-goal lead. Obviously, it's aggregate score. Thank you so much, Tom. We'll let you go. And we'll go back to our casters, Richard and Brandon, to chat ahead of this final matchup. Tom there, given the 1-goal lead to Tekkz, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, as we've seen. It's a new player now for Poland as well. We're not getting a repeat of what we saw yesterday, like Tom just said. He had a new opposition, now Tekkz does as well. It makes things even more exciting, doesn't it, Brandon?
It does. It really, really does. I mean, this is kind of sitting to the last game now in terms of, are England going to top the group? Are they going to potentially, go to second? Or if there's an unbelievable turnaround from Switzerland here and Poland pull out some hell of a result, it could maybe just turn things around even more. But the key thing is, we're looking at a Tekkz here. We can't forget this man. When his back's against the wall so many times, he always comes back with sort of a knockout blow in terms of a big result. And this is one of those sort of examples where we have got a 1-goal cushion. It's not the biggest goal cushion, but Tekkz just needs to win the game, whether it's 2-1 or 1-0, win the game, ensure we take top spot, and then we look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, Rich, don't you think Tekkz will be more fired up after that Germany defeat we just saw?
Yeah, I mean, he's like Batman, isn't he, Tekkz? He's not always there, but when you need him, he always comes and delivers. He always saves the day. So I think he'll come in, and I think it'll be a comfortable victory in the end for England.
Yeah, I know what Tekkz is like as well. The fact that Tom has now gone undefeated on day 2, he'll probably be looking at himself going, oh, I wish I'd have done that as well. But he didn't, but he can redeem himself in this final matchup. Obviously taking on Poland in the final matchup to see if they can stay top of the table. I think we might be able to have a look at how the table currently looks going into this final matchup of the day. Obviously, there's 4 nations involved in Tournament A, which you're watching right now, the first ever Play Unite 2020 tournament. Of course, England, the eLions, with Germany, Poland and Switzerland. That's how it's been looking. England are currently top of the table. Still, goal difference is all that separates them at the moment, and the other nations are hot on their heels. Not sure if we can go to that or not, but if not, so one more matchup. Tekkz, as we know, what changes will he make? Has he made? Have we seen his team already, guys? You guys seem to always have a little bit more information than most do. You guys got eyes and ears everywhere. Brandon, what do you think he'll do?
I mean, we're certainly going to see some sort of change because we played, an 81 overall squad against Switzerland, 84 against Germany. We go to an 82. I think we're probably going to see John Barnes go. Ryan Kent will still be part of that team. We might see a Sterling back involved. I mean, there won't be all the changes in the world. I don't think we'll see Max Aarons, will we, Rich?
I don't think so. I think Kent will come back in, and I think it might be the only change is in the midfield potentially, and also centre back. I'm not too sure if he'll run with Gomez and Smalling, or if it'll be Tomori coming in. We'll get confirmation very, very shortly indeed. But I think for England fans right now, if we win this game, that's it. Like we're definitely in one of the top two spots. We'll either be first or second. So it's in our own hands still. If we win this game, we are in the top two, and we get the favourable game where we have the sort of luxury of being able to lose another match when it goes to knockout football tomorrow and still be in the tournament. If you finish in third and fourth, it's pretty much, if you lose, that's it. You're straight out of the competition. If you finish top two, you have a second chance.
Yeah, but knowing that our two boys are the eLions, they'll want to finish top seed because then they only have to play one match, don't they? Then they progress straight to the final. If they lose, they come second seed, like Rich just alluded to there. They have to play the winner of the third and fourth place matchup. So an extra game for them to play. FIFA going on everywhere. So many matches to contest. So they'll definitely want to limit their amount of game time and go straight through top seed, make it all the way easily to the final, which will be played, of course, on Friday. Knockouts tomorrow, which is Wednesday. But let's have a look at those group standings right now and see what they have to do. There we go. They are doing extremely well. Top of the table, 10 points at the moment, +9 on goal difference over Germany, who's sitting in second place with 10 points also. Then Poland in third place, 9 points to their name. They really are catching up. +3 their goal difference, and then Switzerland just propping up the bottom of the table there. They've played 5 games as well. 0 points as it stands. At the moment, we have one final matchup. Poland taking on England next. That's what the format has been all throughout the tournament. Yesterday, they played Germany, Poland, Switzerland once. Today, they're repeating that. Let's have a look for the final time in these group matchups, exactly who Tekkz is going to start with. Guys, enjoy the last matchup of the group stages. Here we go. Tekkz taking on Poland.
Yeah, well, we're seeing another different team in terms of just a few changes in there. It's the same team that you used yesterday, but we are seeing that Rotherham United defender, team of the season. Rotherham United defender coming to the team. Henderson, Shelvey, this is 2 midfielders, and as expected, Richard, nothing really too much to cheer about other than that.
Yeah, Luke Shaw coming back into left back as well. No Kyle Walker inside. Henderson, Shelvey as the 2 holding. I think it's the team of the year nominee Henderson, the 84 rated John Henderson in at CDM, next to informed John Joe Shelvey. Sterling and Kent out wide, and then Sancho probably just behind Rashford in a 4-2-3-1, with Wan-Bissaka, Smalling, Shaw and Pope making up the back 4. So a very strong team for this final match against Poland. And in terms of the Polish team, keep out Lewandowski. I think that's the number one sort of rule that we have to keep by. If we stop Lewandowski from playing, if we stop Lewandowski from scoring, there's not a lot of goals in this Polish team whatsoever. If Lewandowski is not the goal scorer, Poland don't tend to win, that we've seen in this Play Unite tournament.
We are going to jump into that game now, Rich. It'll be our final game of day 2 of the Play Unite 2020 tournament. Will England top the group? As we said, we've got an incredible goal difference sort of scenario that's behind us at the moment. It'll be down to Tekkz, though. He's got a 1-goal advantage, but he's up against a player that is full of confidence, and that is El Polaco. Currently sits 24th in the world in the Global Series. Beat Megabit earlier today. On top of that, beating Topic, Switzerland's Xbox representative. And here we go now. England.
Thank you. Enjoy the game.
19 game minutes away from topping that group, heading into tomorrow. Here we go. England against Poland is eventually underway. Let's have a look at how this Polish team is linking up. It's Milik and Lewandowski, sort of the strike force again. Maybe an early start here for Poland as well. Back towards Milik. Chance around the corner. If he had some sort of a positioning for Napoli forward, that could have easily been 1-0 to Poland.
Absolutely. The early chances really usually dictate a game of FIFA, especially in a one-legged game of FIFA. How often do you see a player score the first goal and then just go on to see out the result? We saw it in the last game with Tekkz against Megabit. Germany scored first and Tekkz didn't really have an answer back for Germany. Now facing a different challenge in the form of Poland and El Polaco, who has been on fine form today, we have to say.
Here's another chance for Poland. Could it be a breakthrough? Milik into Lewandowski! It's the worst start possible for an England fan. And I hate to say it, but there's some news circling around in the other game, and that's Switzerland are up by a goal against Germany. That's Topic, 1-0 up against Megabit. Overall, that's 1-1 on aggregate. The exact same score as this one.
It turns out Switzerland could potentially be doing England a big favour in this matchup. If that ends as a draw and this matchup ends as a draw, it will just be as it was before this game started. Tekkz simply, in terms of England's future as a top 2 placing team, can't lose. A win would be fantastic, however.
This is nice from Tekkz. A little elastico. Stings the hands of Szczesny. As we alluded to, just cannot let Lewandowski get on the ball. Palchetta into Milik. Doesn't find the ball into Lewandowski as he did for the first goal. Said it many times, there's one man that you want to put into a position like this, it would be Tekkz to go out and get the win. He's been in the toughest of positions before. In tournaments.
Slow build up.
All around the world, England looking to build up. Now for skill moves, Elasticos in action. We'll go back for a free kick. What can happen from here? Looks to be played short, or a direct shot from Marcus Rashford. Kent over it. Rashford potentially with the direct strike towards the left top corner.
I think it actually might have bounced off an England player there on the way through. Team press. Activated for Tekkz. Wins the ball back high up the pitch. Fantastic play. Squeezed, won it, and scored.
And those are the mistakes you cannot make against any pro FIFA player, let alone the best Xbox player in the world. 1 on the scoreline. England back in front on aggregate. 2 goals to 1. Goal cushion reinstated from that result that Tom accumulated against Miloš on the PS4. Henderson for England. He can have all the time in the world. He's not getting any press on him.
Just trying to build. When you see the white shirts behind the ball, you can't rush. You can't try and force it through a gap. You just have to wait and bide your time, really.
Well, one back from John Joe Shelby. It was a strong tackle. It was a fair one. Third of this match played, 1-1. After the Lewandowski goal and a mistake at the back from Poland, which allowed England to equalise. Tekkz looking to take the lead in this one.
I don't know if you
Said he
see
got more action coming tomorrow. Sorry to interrupt, Richard. Day 3 of the Play Unite tournament. We'll see some knockout football.
Texas body language is so much different from this game to the previous game. He knows that this is a must-win game. If he wins this game, you play less tomorrow as well. If you win tomorrow's match, you're automatically into the final. You don't have to go through the remaining fixtures if you do finish second.
If England can keep it like this, they definitely will take top spot. It's just seeing how that other match does go. Sancho does so well. Back to Rashford. Plays the one more. That's Tekkz. And that's exactly what you can do.
That's just class, isn't it? The one more pass. Not a lot of people have played that. Tekkz saw it, executed, and after being 1-0 down in a real tough game, in all honesty, now leading his individual match 2 goals to 1.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes of added time.
Perfect way to end the half for Tekkz, and what a goal. I think none of us saw that extra pass. It was only Tekkz that did see it. That should do us for half-time. There you go. 45 minutes played it. England 3-1 up on aggregate.
Moving into half-time. Raheem Sterling, 1 shot on target, 1 goal. He got the second goal. Rashford got the first. Lewandowski opened up the scoring. 10 minutes into this matchup. The stats on the screen at half-time as well. Possession, chances, and pass accuracy all in the favour of Tekkz. And most importantly, that stat at the top of the screen. 2 goals to 1. Meaning it's 3-1 on aggregate.
I mean, ever since Tekkz went 1-0 down in this game, Richard, he's sort of really not let Poland have anything. See that from the possession, you can see that from the chances. The only chance that was created was the goal that Poland scored. Piatek, come on. It was a starter yesterday for Poland. This time on the bench. Poland looking to start well. Lewandowski, do not let him through. We'll get a shot away, but maybe a clean shot.
Just did enough, got in front of the ball. Made sure that the sting was taken off of the shot before Lewandowski could register a clean strike at the ball. He'll win it though, in the air. Piatek turns his man back into Lewandowski. Great goalkeeper movement from Tekkz.
Great goalkeeper movement, but an even better save from Nick Pope. That's Lewandowski. Put your house on to score in those sort of areas.
The only reason he saved it is because he moved him just to the left-hand side.
And that goes in. The game's even tighter. Fantastic goalkeeper movement though from Tekkz. Just a level above. The way he plays, the way he thinks. Lewandowski dragged back. This could be dangerous. It will be. Poland Find a second. And it's that man again who gets a brace.
He started the attack really deep, did Lewandowski, inside his own, inside the opponent's half. Couple of fake shots, couple of step overs, and then he found the ball just inside the box. Drag back shot. Sort of really instinctive. As soon as you get the ball into Lewandowski, you know exactly what you want to do. And he's 99 rated for a reason.
Best thing England can do is do that. Wish I thought for a second was going to be a goal for Marcus Rashford. A cheeky roulette on the edge of the box. Didn't find the final. Shot on goal he was looking for. This game's come even tighter. 25 minutes left. Sancho. In the heart of the attack for England. Needs to get that ball inside. There's that run from Rashford. Back to Ryan Kent.
Minutes remaining.
Result has come in. It's 1-1 overall between Switzerland and Germany. That's Switzerland's first points in the Play Unite. That means that Germany will be on 11. So even the draw for England would ensure that they would still finish top. And a win would be even better.
On goal difference, yeah. Oh, but it also opens up the door to Poland. If they were to beat us right now and beat England, they would go top on 12.
They'll be looking back on what's been an incredible day with performances. I just don't see that happening with 15 minutes left. It's a player of Tekkz's quality. Minutes left plus additional time. England in pole position and look like they could be taking top spot in this tournament, heading into the seeded matches tomorrow, the seeded knockout matches. Jadon Sancho back to goal into Ryan Kent to finish this game off in style. Jadon Sancho! That will be the game, and it will be all smiles for England.
We'll be finishing top of the group. Top of tournament A. Jadon Sancho with that near post finish. I think he got a hand on it, but it just wasn't enough. And England will go into the knockout play tomorrow with the biggest advantage they could potentially have.
Not just goal difference, but a huge point. Sort of balance between the two. Where there's now a gap that has appeared. England will finish today on 13. Germany on just 11. Means that they will be playing again, Richard, for a third time tomorrow. England against Germany. That's a game you do not want to miss. England sort of hoping for a win overall after a 4-4 draw in day one, a loss that we just saw earlier today.
Oh, he got the ball. Oh, like a blatant foul.
Quite an aggressive tackle it looked like from Chris Smalling there. Added time off just 2 minutes. It will be all smiles for England fans watching this. Heading into day 3 of the tournament. In top seed, in pole position. And Tekkz with an important 3-2 win overall. That makes it a 4-2 win for England. From 1-0 down to 3-2 up. Will he get one more chance with John Joe Shelvey? That That should just about do us for the game. Well played, Tekkz. Well played, Tom. England top of the pile in the Play Unite 2020 tournament.
Did the business when he needed to do it. Tekkz coming out victorious with a 3-2 victory. Meaning that overall, combining the two scores, it was England 4, Poland 2. Poland will drop down into third position with England taking top spot, Germany in second, and Switzerland getting a point on the board, finishing fourth. But that is the sort of group standings at the end of group play, Brandon. England, top of the pile.
I mean, it's the best way to end today, isn't it? We had a bit of a sort of rocky period in the middle of our matches against Germany, which is, again, going to be that match we'll see tomorrow. It'll be top seed against second, England against Germany. We'll see it for a third time. Fingers crossed England can go and get that win. But what's important is, though, Richard, that they've sort of ended the day with a win. They've scored a lot of goals today again, and it's that goal difference factor alongside the points, which has always been sort of England's selling point in this tournament.
Absolutely, yeah. The goals that we have scored in the end have sent us through in top on goal difference. It was the big victories against Switzerland in both of the matches that we had have really been the decisive factor. I think that's been the difference between us and Germany as well. Germany have grinded out the results, whereas England, in the end, we dominated the majority of games that we played in and did suffer a couple of roadblocks along the way. But overall, I think we deserved to be going through in the number one seed.
I mean, looking across the board as well, Poland, a great day for them. We saw two new players sort of take the helm for Poland.
Will they play
the question
tomorrow?
is, do they change? Do you know, do they play again tomorrow? Exactly. Does Dami come back into the mix on the PlayStation, or this sort of Polish side that's played so well today? I mean, if you're sort of the Poland eSports manager, you got to keep the same duo from today.
I think you potentially mix and match. I think you
shout.
put Dami in with El Polaco. I think El Polaco was the standout player in that Polish side. And I think you go Dami and El Polaco, but we're focusing on England. We don't need anyone else. We've got Tom and Tekkz, and for me, favourites for this entire tournament now. They've beat all the players that they've had to beat. The only person I think that we've not got a win against is Megabit on the Xbox. I think that's the only player that we've not yet to beat. Everybody else that we have played, we have beaten. So I'll be looking forward to seeing Tekkz get his revenge against Megabit tomorrow.
Well, it'll be great to hear from Tekkz as well in that game. We're going to throw this over to Rachel now to break down everything that we've just seen there.
Yeah, England definitely getting the job done. We predicted it yesterday at the beginning of the tournament. They were the ones to watch, and they have proved us right, sitting at the top of the table there, above Germany, Switzerland, and Poland. I think we can hear it from both #Tom and Fnatic Tekkz, our eLions. Right now, congratulations, guys. You've got the job done, half done, top of the table. But that does mean you are taking on, drumroll, Germany tomorrow. Tom, what have you made of today?
Good stuff. That's all you can ask for, really. Finish first of the group, go in as first seed, and it'll be interesting against Germany tomorrow because their playstyle is certainly interesting, to say the least. So it should be a good watch, I'll say.
Yeah, of course it's going to be a good watch. There's always a bit of drama when it's England and Germany. Tekkz, coming over to you. Tom has been putting the pressure on you all day long, hasn't he?
Nah, not really.
He doesn't feel the pressure.
And the thing is, I would feel pressure if it is like an actual event, but I don't really get any pressure at home. I just sit and I play, and yeah.
Well, you are obviously representing England. It is a big deal here, guys. But obviously now that you are top seed, playing Germany, you're not going to get knocked out even if you lose tomorrow straight away, because then you'll go and play third and fourth place. Will you kind of change thinking your team tomorrow? It's 84 rated team against Germany, Tom?
That means I can go with my favourite Max Arons at 184. So, no, my team is pretty good. I liked it against them. So I'll just go with exactly what I played with today.
Okay, great stuff. Let's have a look at those final group standings then, just so you guys can have a look how it all finished there. Here we go. Top of the table, England and the eLions, Tom and Tekkz. 13 points there, plus 11 with the goal difference. Germany in second, 11 points. Poland, third place with 9 points, and Switzerland, finally, they're getting a point in the end, 1 point in fourth place. But no one goes out, like we just said. Everyone is playing tomorrow in those knockout matches. It's the top 2 seeds taking on each other. There's obviously England and Germany, and then Poland and Switzerland will be battling it out as well. Only 2, of course, can make the final. So do come back and join us tomorrow when we'll see what happens in those matchups. That's how day 2 finished. Boys, just want to say, how fun is it, though, to be representing England again as an eLion?
Yeah, it's good.
Tom, we'll go to
we
you.
didn't get to do it. We didn't get to do it at the E-Nations this year because of obviously what's going on around the world. So it's always good to play for England. Enjoy playing and teaming up with Tekkz again. So all good so far. Hopefully we can straight win tomorrow, get that one game, and then straight into the final.
Come on, boys, rest up. We want you to get a job done tomorrow. We want to see you in the final on Friday. I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining us again today, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Bye.
There you have it. They are our 2 eLions. #Tom, Fanatic, Tekkz, getting the job done. I think we can be joined now by Richard and Brandon again, just to quickly wrap up the show and kind of conclude the second day of group matchups. They've done it, guys. We bigged them up, didn't we, at the beginning of this tournament? We said they are the ones to watch. Xbox side of things, Tekkz is ranked #1 in the world. PlayStation side of things, Tom is ranked #3 in the world. They're against Germany tomorrow, though, and Megabit, who is being a bit tricky. Rich, will Tekkz bring his 5th gear, 6th gear tomorrow? You said he was only on gear 2 at the beginning of this tournament.
I think he'll know that he needs to beat Megabit. If you look, they've played twice, he's lost twice. I think the going through as a top 2 seed, even in my opinion, going through as first seed wasn't really ever in doubt. I back Tom and Tekkz individually or together as a duo whenever they play FIFA. I think at home Tom's looked one of, if not the best player. I think Tekkz obviously he struggles to get up for it, but for Tom, this is an event that he can win. He often goes around saying he's never won an event. He's never won and been the victor and won an event, and this is his event to win. He's partnering with Tekkz, and I think that's the thing that's going to motivate Tekkz as we get further into the tournament, that he's doing it for Tom.
Yeah, Brandon, I said there to Tekkz that Tom really has been putting the pressure on him all tournament. He said he wasn't sure. I think he's maybe telling a bit of a fib when he said that, because Tom's game has been excellent so far this tournament. Wouldn't you agree with me?
Yeah, I definitely think that Tom's played well, and as Richard alluded to, different players peak in different ways. You heard Tekkz say that he prefers to play at LAN events, and I'm sure anyone prefers to play at LAN sort of live events, but Tom has been one of those that has had a great year. Of course, Tekkz has had a great year as well, but at home, since, we've seen this sort of new string of events, online events, Tom's played really well. It's the reason why he's in the summer series, in sort of the final 8 of that tournament, and I think we'll actually have a chance to look at the knockout bracket now to see how that is looking in terms of tomorrow's games. As you said, it will be first against second seed, as I was talking about the bracket earlier and sort of the tournament format. So that'll be a third time we'll get to see England against Germany. And on top of that, we'll see that lower seed game between Poland and Switzerland. Whoever wins between England and Germany goes straight into the final. Whoever loses between England and Germany goes down into that lower bracket match you can see that's empty. And then the winner of Poland against Switzerland will then match up England or Germany. Of course, whoever loses that, and then we'll have our sort of grand final that we'll be looking towards happening on Friday. So lots of stuff happening tomorrow, Rachel, and I can't wait to see day 3 of the Play Unite 2020 tournament.
Yeah, that is what's going to happen tomorrow, but that is it from the group stages and day 2 of the first ever Play Unite tournament. Guys, thank you so much again for commentating and bringing all your wealth of FIFA knowledge. We have loved it. Please do join us tomorrow for the knockouts, where we'll see who makes it to the finals on Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.